There's an air of love and of happiness. And this is the new. I knew I'd mess this up. I was rehearsing the whole time. And this is the Fresh Prince's new definition of summer madness on Comic Book Canon. Seriously, everybody, I was rehearsing that nonstop like a minute before we went live, thinking that, yes, this is perfect. It feels like summertime. And I messed it up, and I did shame to Will Smith here, but I hope he forgives me. Actually, he probably will never see this ever, but that's okay with me as well. I'm just gonna bring Chris on to see what he thought about my my 16 bars there. Chris, thoughts? Yeah, I know. That's how I feel too.
No, here's the thing. You're gonna become a meme. You're gonna become a meme. It's gonna be your head getting the Will Smith slap.
I deserve that. You're right. You're absolutely right. Listen, I'm psyched. It feels like summertime. I'm psyched. We're here. We got amazing guests. We got Grotto from Grotto. Jesus Christ, what's wrong with me today? Otto from Three Men in a Basement. We got a ton of people in the chat already. I'm like literally a ton. They're going crazy. Jordan Norrie, Raising Elm Comics, Mark Leneker. We got Jacob Murch. We got No Good Comics. Three Men in a Basement's here too. Because Otto, not Grotto, is here as well. He's Otto in the Grotto. We got John Big Daddy Ross. We got, who else we got here, Chris? We got a ton of people. Let's see. Dan De La Torre, Spider Dude 71.
Matt,
wow. It's gonna be a hot show because again, it feels like summertime. Chris, man, we should just get right into it because so much stuff to talk about. Excited for Otto. Excited for our Fresh from the Comic Shop and excited for our top 10 props or flops. So why don't we just get into it with some exciting news as well? That's right. Black Adam, people. Black Adam, yes. The man in black. Well, Johnny Cash is really the man.
Oh, yeah.
But we had a Black Adam trailer, which I was really blown away by. Also, these character posters starting off with the Black Adam. The world needed a hero. It got Black Adam. Again, going with that kind of ambiguous kind of hero that we see these days. We also got a sweet Hawkman poster. I'm liking what he's looking like here. Chris, thoughts on Hawkman?
Yeah.
It's Hawkman, no doubt. I'm digging it too. I love that shield. What's that?
I love the shield.
Definitely. Dude, look at everything about it. It's Hawkman, no doubt, especially when he flies those wings out in that trailer. We got Cyclone, a different iteration of Cyclone than from the comic books, but still, we got Cyclone. Adam Smasher looks pretty badass as well. And guys, Dr. Fate, he looks incredible in the trailer as well. So I am super psyched about this film. Now, let's go back here. Not only did we get the trailer, not only did we get these amazing character posters, but we got some commitment from Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. He says, I'm 100% committed to not only Black Adam, but the expanding of the Black Adam universe, the DC universe. Johnson said when asked by comicbook.com, I'm an optimist from the word go, he says. So to me and to all of us up here, all universes exist in our heads. We all will work very hard to make sure we are honoring the mythology, but also giving the fans what they want. I'll go back to that in a second here because Chris has been saying this for a long time. I hear the fans, we all do, and I pick up everything they're putting down. It doesn't get by me. It doesn't get by these guys, the producers Hiram Garcia, producer Beau Flynn, and director Wame Kole Serra. This is the beginning, hopefully, fingers crossed, of a very long storytelling road. That Black Adam is the anchoring jet fuel. Now that will then push and press the universe out. And producer Hiram Garcia also had this to add when he talked to comicbook.com. In our minds, it's all part of a shared universe. All these guys exist together. We're just focused on telling the story, on telling Black Adam and the Justice Society of America. But the way we view it and our ambitions for the universe is this is all shared. And I think you start to feel the ripples of these guys in the universe. Chris, we always talk about how we want to see the DCEU move the needle forward. There have been times where it's like, yes, moving the needle forward. That was great. Most times we're moving backwards, guys. What the hell is going on here? And to your point, Chris, too, I just want to bring this up and then hear your thoughts. You have always stated that The Rock, he may not have won an Academy Award, but he always listens to fans and he always gives them what they want. Thoughts, Chris?
Who would have thought almost 10 years into the DCEU, almost a decade of, like you just said, so much disappointment and half-assery, should I say, that it would take a few, maybe, do we call them rebels here, to come together around Dwayne Johnson, of all people. I'm almost getting goosebumps here, but I'm scared that I'm getting ahead of myself. But look, the one thing that makes me, I always say we're optimistic, right? But the one thing that's not only keeping me optimistic, but it is that is actually motivating me right now, is that I think all of the players here and them making these statements, they're genuine. They believe, they absolutely believe it. And they understand from the fans' perspective what's gone on for almost the last decade. So I mean, the trailer was freaking amazing. In every aspect. I mean, the visuals, you know, the just the characters, the dialogue, the lines, the interactions, all of it was great. I felt the same way though for the Last Jedi trailer. I wanted to cry. I'm like, oh, and then I go and watch that movie, and I came out of it crying for the opposite reason. Anyways, but I just think this is going to be an overall great movie. Now, if we come out of this movie and we're like, I just don't see it happening. I don't see us being disappointed. And now, again, this doesn't mean, because this is how we are these days, we want everything cookie cut to the way that we demand. And if it isn't this and it's not that, then right? I'm not saying that. I'm not saying this needs to be the best movie ever made. But I think we're going to come out of this movie smiling, enjoying the 2 whatever hours that we spent in there, and just applauding the film and wanting more. And that's what we need right now. And this could indeed, as The Rock said, you know, this could be the foundation here that really breathes that new life into the DCEU.
Yeah, I agree. Again, nothing is guaranteed. We were blown away by that Morbius trailer. And, you know, and I know you thought Morbius was okay, but still, again, we know to set our, you know, just to kind of protect ourselves in a way.
Yep.
The trailer looks awesome. These guys have been so passionate. I mean, it's a hard thing to do, to be attached to a film for over 10 years, especially a superstar, probably the biggest grossing box office, you know, actor of this generation. For him to stick by this thing, he believes in it. He has a commitment to it, and he's also an asset for DC. So I expect big things from it. I expect to at least enjoy it, enjoy the film walking out of the theater. There was another film, and again, we're covering some DC news here, Chris, but there was another film I quite enjoyed in a different type of a way, you know, from DC, and you're going to hit up this story next.
Yeah, man, we have a Joker sequel confirmation this last week. Joker director Todd Phillips posted on IG a script for the sequel titled Joker Folie Dois. Is that, am I?
It's a good try, man. It's a good try. Let's just keep going.
Folie et Dois.
Oh, just, you're butchering it. Let's go.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know my French. A psychiatric syndrome where 2 or more people begin to share delusions. Interesting. In addition, he also had a photo of Joaquin Phoenix reading it. There's been a ton of rumors regarding a sequel, which makes sense since this is not only one of the most acclaimed superhero films with 2 Academy Awards, it's also the most profitable as well. If you look at what DC has been doing and the things that we just talked about, that the speed bumps along the road and them taking a whole new approach. So for me, Jeff, I love Joaquin Phoenix. You know, remember he took that hiatus for I don't know how many years away from making movies. That sucked because like everything that he did was great. I love his portrayal of this character in this film, but and I actually don't mind DC taking this route. My only problem, though, and apologize for spoilers, folks, if you haven't seen this movie. At the end, and this isn't really a big spoiler, but at the end,
past that time.
Seriously, they hinted that Batman exists in his reality. And my only issue with this, in terms of this movie universe or whatever they're doing with it, I don't see this Joker, at least how they set him up and left him after the first movie. I do not see him being a foe of Batman at whatsoever. So I don't know if that's the case or they were just doing that as an Easter egg. I like what they're dropping here. I mean, this what they talked about the psychiatric syndrome where 2 or more people are beginning to share delusion. Like, there's so much they could do there to write off the amazing portrayal and character that Joaquin Phoenix built in the first film. I really want them to I want them to keep these their own. I don't want these to cross over to any Batman anything, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with Mark Lineker here. I thought it was a really good film. I don't see a point to a sequel, and I used to never be like this. I would always want to see more, evolution for characters and the storylines and things like that. I don't know. I don't see a need for a sequel on this, and I'll see it. I thought it was well done. I thought everything was well done about that. Todd Phillips did pitch DC a Black Label kind of movie universe that they just wanted to go with Joker to see what happens with this, and it was a good bet that they they hedged on here because it was critically acclaimed. It was a box office success because it wasn't that expensive of a movie to produce. That's why it's the most profitable superhero movie. I don't know, man. I don't. And here's another thing too. I don't ever need to see that movie again. It was so dark and just everything about it. I appreciate it for what it was, and I'm ready to move on from that. And Chris, you and I are fans of universe building. Yep. I don't need to see multiple universes of DC, especially like this. So I'm good. Wipe my hands clean with it. I will see a sequel, but I'm not pushing for it. So
I like what you said about that too. About let the movie tell the story and leave it at that. Also, I don't believe this is the Joker at all. They made a unique film, and maybe DC owns. Obviously, I think it was a push. Calling him Joker and using that just because it's going to bring fans in. But he is not the Joker in any capacity. We've seen so many different iterations of the Joker.
Yeah.
This wasn't the Joker. As much as it was a great portrayal and a solid film, it's not the Joker. That's why I'm saying just keep him away from Batman. But good point there, too. You definitely add some perspective in terms of just tell one story and leave the rest to our imagination.
Yeah. And I never thought I'd be here. I'm always about a sequel and seeing everything. But again, here we are. All right, moving on, though. This is probably the most surprising news of the week. And we have one member of the community here that he was really affected by this because he is going to the bank. We'll get to that in a hot second. That's right, people. If you put money on a Thunderbolts movie moving forward this week, you would be winning quite a bit of money. That's right. Deadline dropped an exclusive stating the MCU has found a director for Thunderbolts movie in Jake Shire. You may know Jake from directing classic Kanye West and Kendrick Lamar videos. Broke onto the scene with his 2013 Sundance darling Robot and Frank. He also directed 2015's Paper Towns, recently wrapped production on the A24 Netflix series Beef, and has directed episodes of FX's Dave. Everybody, I freaking love Dave. I absolutely love the series Dave. Love it, love it, love it. Also attached is the Black Widow's Eric Pearson to write the script. Now, if you were looking for any issues related to Thunderbolts, I'm talking any issue ever printed, feel free to contact Nori Jordan, who owns a warehouse of them. We're getting kind of, it's almost, I would think it's problematic, the amount of Thunderbolts issues he does own. I believe he's in the chat here, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. But Chris, your thoughts?
I wasn't surprised by this whatsoever. I mean, maybe the timing, but it was obvious. They've already been setting it up for over a year now, so it was coming down the pipeline. Let's make it happen.
The seeds were there, right? The seeds were there with Falcon and the Winter Soldier, where we had the captain, or what the heck? Can I freaking
U.S.
You had Baron Zemo. You have the other iteration of Black Widow. You have a lot to work with, but it hasn't been on the kind of the radar, especially that timeline that you see the next 3 years or so. Who knows? Again, attaching a director to a film does not mean it's guaranteed to happen. But when the MCU, and especially an outlet like Deadline, kind of reports this exclusive, there's usually something there.
So remember, we got Nick Fury in the first film of the MCU, which was Iron Man, and it took 4 years to get to Avengers. We got Valeria
De La Fontaine. She's putting together something, at the end of Winter Soldier. Yeah.
Right. So she's basically the
Nick Fury.
This iteration of Nick Fury. So we saw her in Falcon and Winter Soldier, and we saw her in Black Widow. And it's been over a year now. So we don't have a production date on this yet at all. So we have, how many more? We had Hawkeye that I think built on Thunderbolts. And then we probably have a couple more years maybe before production even starts. So we're going to have probably a couple more, I would think, either TV shows and or films where we see her come back in a little cameo or something that is going to add another piece to it. And if you think about it, 2001, maybe this is set for a 2025 release, and that's on par with basically how long it took to set up the Avengers.
Good. That's a good point. That's doing math right there. And if we see any confirmation from either, Marvel Studios or Jake Schreier's team, I would anticipate production they'd be going into production within the next 2 years. That could be, either next year or the following year, which would put it towards that 2025 release date. So right there, 360 in the house. Yo, boys. Yo, chat. Right there, that ends the news. I would say, not much news going on, Chris, but some pretty solid news. And I'm liking every little bit of it. Yeah. Right now, this is where we usually bring on our guests. But before we do, we're just going to remind you that we would like for you to hit the like button or subscribe to us if you haven't already. We are live every Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific. And if you're in the Midwest, it's 7 p.m. Midwest time.
Yeah. What if you're in Mountain Time?
Or something like that. I am not feeling.
Well, then you're going to have to bring in daylight savings time into that mix.
Let's just. Okay. I can't do the math. All right, moving on though. Again, gosh, we really like bringing guests here, and I'll tell you what. This next guest, we wanted to bring him in for over a year, well over a year. It never worked out with our schedules. Very happy to have him on. That's why, right? We got. Good friend here. Our next guest is one of 3 Men in a Basement. These guys are stalwarts in the community, not only with the amazing content they put out, but also the comic swaps and other events they put on. They are catalysts for galvanizing this amazing community. On top of that, this is the most important part. On top of that, this guy's got a pretty mean karate chop, as you can see from his logo right here. Please welcome Otto from 3 Men in a Basement. Otto, how are you, buddy?
I'm very happy to be here. I'm excited, man. That was great news.
It was a lot of great news, wasn't it?
That was a great segment, man. Thank you. Got me hyped up.
Listen, we appreciate, actually flattery's not going to get you anywhere. We know what you're doing. You're trying to pass this interview.
I'm laying out of gas. I'm laying out.
Yeah, you don't need to butter us up just yet. Because again, this is no shit, no bullshit here. We're very happy to have you on. We talked about this over a year ago. I'm glad we finally made it work. Big fan of you guys. Seriously, just the you guys, and I know we've been in a pandemic for 2 years, but you guys have really pushed to get people together, right?
Right.
In person together. Even as recently as your birthday.
Yeah, there you go.
This is what you posted right here.
Yeah.
Some people go to fancy restaurants, clubs, and bars for the birthday. This year, I wanted to go digging in a basement at Sarge's Comics. Great day with amazing people. Just something simple like that. And this is what we've been yearning for. Now things are getting back. You've been putting these events on for probably 8 months or so. Is that right?
I mean, we've the crawls started.
That's right. Yeah.
The crawls started during the pandemic.
Yeah.
The swaps started 4 years ago with 30 people total. And the last one we had over 300 there.
Incredible.
What I mean? So
it's incredible. That's what I'm talking about. You guys galvanizing the community, though, and y'all better be following 3 Men in a Basement. The link is below. It's as simple as clicking on 3 Men in a Basement. This new technology, YouTube has, where you can literally just at 3 Men in a Basement. So it's incredible stuff. So there's no excuse. Y'all actually, how many subs do you have, Otto? We like to do this thing where we
a little over 3,000 right now.
How many would you like? Let's set it realist. Let's try and get 10 new subs by the end of the day.
Right, let's do it, man.
By the end of the show. And if not, we're going to cancel Comic Book Canon.
Okay. No, don't do that, man. Don't do that.
No, we're going to do it. So you have to tell us the exact number right now.
All right. We got 3193 right now.
So we're looking at 3,203 by the end of the show.
All right. Yep.
You all better sub up, or this is the last episode of the canon. It's a good way to go out with you, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right. Many people have gone out like this way, and I've been on the bottom of it. So,
you will be to blame. Listen, all right, here we are. You have been chosen to be a guest co-host of the canon, but it doesn't mean that you are, because the onus is on you. You need to pass the interview, and Chris here is usually director of Comic Book Canon interviews. I think that's your official title, right, Chris?
I like that. Yeah, I'll take it.
It's off the top of my head right there. So we're gonna let actually Chris kind of get into it, and I don't think you know where this is coming from, Chris.
I don't, but I want to preface this. I fail every test at least once. That's my pre-test, right? And I'm an educator.
No. I was just about to say,
like I fail every test once, and that's kind of like it. This way I know what's coming. But my license 3 times, my certification 4 times, like every test 3 or 4 times at least. So this is part.
Well, here's the deal. I feel like you do it on purpose so you can relate to those kids that don't pass. Be like, 100%. No, I know how it feels.
Yeah, right. Yeah. You connect the dots going forward. You can only connect the dots going backwards. So
I mean, yeah, you still don't have your license. And what, you took that test 30 years ago?
I ride my bike everywhere. I ride my
bike. Exactly. So it's okay. All right, Chris. I say we just get right into it. We always root for you, but there's a good chance you're not going to make it.
All right.
Here we go.
All right. Yes, let's do it. Jeff, I don't know.
The dome is sweating right now, man.
I don't know if we give makeup tests here on the canon, Jeff.
No, trust me, I did a lot of that.
We've never done that before.
Never
done that before.
All right. Here we go.
All right.
So you are from the lovely state of Connecticut.
That's right.
This is a fact. Okay, so we got that on the table. We know this. Now, I'm from Cali, so we have some people might argue great weather all year long. I currently live in the Sacramento Valley in Sacramento, and I tell you, I hate our summers. So I got a question about seasons. My favorite season out here is spring, absolutely. What is your favorite season?
Summer, by far.
Oof, man, that was quick.
How dare somebody from Connecticut not let their favorite season be fall with the unique colors.
I know, man.
Connecticut scenery and landscape, the golds and reds and browns and yellows. Summer, I mean, I guess if you want to be stuck in a tank top that's like sweatier than my feet after gym practice.
This is sad because he's a nice guy too, and I'm sorry to see him go out like this on the first damn question. I think we may need to let him back in because we did say
to explain himself. He's got it. All
right. Let's bring him back.
I can't believe I got bounced on the first one. I'm out. I'm one and done, son. Like that's it. The story.
We're gonna give you a chance. Like we don't understand. So make us understand why and how is summer your favorite season.
All right. Well, I'm gonna tell you why fall isn't, okay? Because you know all those pretty trees that have all those leaves that are all those nice oranges and yellows and stuff like that. When you got 5 big maple trees in your backyard, and you know that you got about 15 hours of leaf blowing and raking coming up every weekend to get that done, that sucks. All right. So that being said, if you were to ask me what my favorite month is, I would say June, right? June is my favorite month because lots of things happen. It's my birthday, my wedding anniversary. My mother, God rest her soul, always made a big deal out of summertime and my birthday. And that was very important to me. And then it's Father's Day. And that's, since I've been a dad for 17 years now, it's just been a great holiday. And it signifies the end of the school year, right, to me. So my life is based on pretty much the school year. So look at this guy on some, dude. That's okay. I'm surprised that's going to happen a lot. So anyway, but fall, fall comes around and you grab your jackets and you guys, all right, here, winter is coming. It's like something out of like, the snow is coming, which I don't mind. I've been around it my whole life. So fall is kind of like the tail end. And more importantly, it means, here we are, we're back to school and then summer's over. So that's it, man.
Yes. He crawled his way back with the Leafs because I don't know why we haven't met in person yet because I'm probably an hour and a half away from you. Yeah. But yeah, dude, the Leafs, Chris, not fun at all. And I got one of those electric leaf blowers that I run out of my battery all the time.
But then you got to get the rake and you got to do this part and you got to get that part. And then you get your neighbor's leaves over there. And then you're blowing them back into his yard. Next thing you know, you're fighting your neighbor over leaves. Like, and it is what it is, man. So
he literally redeemed himself just with the Leafs.
Good.
All right. He got me on the sentimental values of June.
Yeah, that's true. I'm usually the hard ass here, not wanting to bring anybody back, but let's keep going here. We got a show to do.
All right. Fair enough. Okay, here's another one. Now, I know, this I don't know, Jeff. You may be tough on this one. I can take a open-minded perspective on this. I think this definitely depends on what part of the country.
It's a hard question.
You're from. It is. So, Otto, we know that you are a food kind of a connoisseur. You enjoy the restaurant scene.
Mm-hmm.
So I gotta ask, what is your favorite ethnic food to eat out? So I'm not talking about, home cooking, whether home cooking that you grew up, whatever your ethnicity is or nationality or a friend around the corner. I mean, specifically, you're going to restaurants, you're sitting down and you want this specific type of ethnic food. And I have 3 options. Now you might have a better option that's not listed, but out of these 3,
all right,
Mexican, Italian, or Chinese.
Oh, those are good ones. Those are good ones. All right. Probably Mexican.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
There you go.
Let's hear
Here's
why.
the deal. You couldn't go wrong with either of those 3.
Right.
Unless you go to Taco Bell, which
correct.
Literally,
that's right.
But I honestly, we give it to him, Chris. We got to give it to him.
Well, here's the thing. See, now where I'm at in California, right? I mean, not to say that I'm Sicilian, so I cannot eat Italian food out. Yeah, I can't. Either the noodles aren't al dente, the sauce is water. They like throw a pound of sugar in there or something. Ooh. And it's not the deal. It's not. But I understand, like, if you're in certain areas in say Chicago or on the East Coast, you got more probably authentic Italian cooking. So if you would have said Italian food, my feelings might have been hurt.
No.
But
not on the East Coast, Chris. Not on the East Coast.
Yeah, right. But being in Cali too, like we have, it's actually interesting because I love, like, I was just talking to my wife the other day. I'm like, what is it? Is it because I'm Sicilian and Portuguese, and I'm like, what is Portuguese food like? Because I don't really know. I never grew up around my Portuguese family. Is it similar to like Spanish food, which can be similar to Mexican food? Like, why do I love Mexican food so much? And I'm like, well, I am in California, and everywhere we go, we got the Mexican markets and the taquerias and so forth. So that's a good answer.
Yeah,
good answer. He couldn't go wrong with those. So he's redeeming himself. Let's see what we got.
I'm back. I'm crawling my way back up. I'm out of the hole. I'm out of the grotto. I'm coming out of the grotto.
It's a slow crawl though. Let's not get too excited, okay?
Yeah.
All right. Here we go. Next one. You love to travel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So, not talking about a specific place, but what's your favorite, say, environment or type of terrain to travel to? So our options are tropical. Are you a tropical kind of guy? You got the sand and beaches and palm trees and maybe some some rainforesty waterfall adventure hikes and stuff like that, right? Or high mountains, which can consist of, greenery and waterfalls as well, maybe snow during the winter, or desert.
Yeah, it'd probably be tropical, no doubt. You know what I mean?
All
Tropical,
right,
no doubt. So that would kind of be it. You know,
All
mountains not so much for me. Desert, I don't know. That's
okay. That's fair. And like, here's the deal: we threw you 3 softballs.
Right,
Okay?
you did.
3. You got 2 out of the 3.
Right.
This is where it gets a little bit difficult. Chris has done some work here.
All right.
So Chris.
All right.
Here we go. Let's just get into it.
We're gonna do this now. This is like the the first ones were like I don't know, multiple choice, right? Yep. And these are like the essay questions.
Yeah.
All right, and Jeff, this is a 4-part question here. Are we giving it? Does he need to get 100%, or are we giving him one? He can
3 out of 4. He has to get. That's 75%. That's passing grade in school.
Yeah, that's right. That's
okay.
Yeah. I lived on C pluses. You got it.
All right. Okay, here we go. This is it. The intensity is on.
Ooh, my God.
Connecticut is the home to many first new inventions. All right. We got 4 that we're gonna quiz you on here.
Yeah, you got it.
Here we go. First question for an invention created in the great state of Connecticut. Instant memories captured. An invention that allows instant memories to be captured.
And
you want me to say what it is?
Yes. And if you get it wrong, we'll give you a hint. Cali Comics suggests, can you phone a friend? But
no. A Kodak, right?
Oh, you're onto it. It's
all right.
Chris, give him the hint. Give him the hint.
Yeah, certain type of camera.
Oh my God.
Instant.
Yeah.
Instant capture.
Oh my God.
He's killing
the Kodak cameras. It was the click and it comes out and you've got it right there. You know, I just can't think of it. I mean, I had it as a kid. That's where the first selfies came from. You know what I mean? So, you know, I can describe it. It's not Kodak. What is it?
Starts with a P.
All right. Listen, you got most of it. You have a lifeline.
Yeah, there you go. Polaroid.
He got it. He got it, Chris. He got it.
Yes.
He definitely got it.
I haven't said the word Polaroid in 30 years. I'm sure John hasn't either. You know?
All right. Good. Awesome. Okay, good. He knew what it was. We all knew it. And there we go. All right, moving on now.
And just for fun facts, the Polaroid camera was invented in 1934.
Your state has brought some amazing things to the world, especially this right next here. I had no idea.
All right, yeah. This is awesome. Now, and we talked about food. So here's a little food trivia here. Again, invention straight out of Connecticut.
You got it.
This famous American food
sandwich.
Can you?
It is a sandwich.
Yep,
okay. Specific.
It was created in New Haven, Connecticut. Oh my God.
It is world famous. This food, like world famous,
classic
American food.
Right. Oh my God.
I mean, drive-thrus were built on this. That's the only thing I'll say.
It wasn't McDonald's. It was no.
I'll tell you what, John Big Daddy Ross knows his stuff.
Oh yes, yeah, of course. I got it, John. You got it. Yep. All right. You're right.
What is it?
It's the hamburger. The hamburger.
You got it. All right.
I think we check. It was right out of New Haven, Connecticut. If I'm saying that properly.
Yep.
So,
guys, come on. No, cheating, man. We gotta let Otto do the thing.
My ass, man. He's helping me.
All right. Another big one right here. Like huge. Like enormous. Changed the world. This literally changed the world.
Yeah, it did.
This is the biggest one on this whole list. This changed the world.
But by the way, hamburger created in 1895.
That's crazy.
All right, we're talking about an electronic device that changed the world that is now in almost every home. Electronic device that is now in almost every home. Maybe some homes even have more than one.
Electronic device.
I wouldn't call it an appliance either, like a washing machine or or a dishwasher. But it is an electronic device. Really revolutionized how we spend our days, how we.
Are we talking about the telephone? Like, I mean, I don't know, like.
Ooh, close. Very close.
Is that your final answer?
I don't want to say that. Yeah, what I want to tell you about it's ColecoVision. If you guys remember the video games ColecoVision, that's a thing of the past. That was from Connecticut. It was SNET Graham Bell telephone. Yeah, that'll be my final answer, man. This is a tough one.
Well, you got part of the word right.
Yeah.
Television, but specifically the color.
Okay, gotcha.
All right.
Good thing I don't teach history, man.
All right, this is it. This is
the
last one.
Yeah.
And by the way,
the question right.
Yep. The color.
Honestly, let's stay in touch. Otto, let's stay in touch.
Thanks. I figured my 5 minutes of fame with you guys.
Yeah.
Color television first debuted out of Connecticut in 1948.
Incredible. That's incredible.
All right, here we go. This is it. This is like game 7. Win or go home.
It is, yeah.
All right. I'm gonna give the year on this one ahead of time too. I'll give you a year. So the year was 1939. A specific type of flying vehicle. It was 1939. So if you can understand flying vehicles and their history, it was a specific type of flying vehicle that are used, all the time.
Pratt & Whitney helicopters.
Oh,
he did it!
Yeah.
He did it! And he was so sure of himself, Chris.
That's it. I knocked it out. That was a layup right there, man. That was.
Oh my God! Congratulations, Otto. You came back strong, dude.
Pratt & Whitney or Sikorsky. I don't know the company back then, but those are the big companies in the States.
Wow! Yes, you are now an official guest co-host of the Comic Book Canon. You will get one of those varsity jackets, alumnus jackets that we've never produced and probably never will. And you get to remain here for the rest of the show.
Finally, man. It only took me 51 years to pass the test.
Congratulations. We're very happy to have you on here. You only got kicked off once, I think, right, Chris?
Yes.
Yep.
That's not bad, actually. That is not bad. There's never been a person who's never been kicked off, I do believe. But all right, we're gonna move on with this show then. Let's do it. Happy to have you on, talk all things comic books. But before we do, this could be the last episode of Comic Book Canon. We need 10 new subs for 3 Men in a Basement. So we are looking to get 3,203.
5 more. Come on, people.
6 more.
6 more. Let's get to it, guys. There's 30 people in this on the stream here, and hopefully 6 of you are not subbed up so we can save the canon. All right. 3-6. You've definitely got kicked off more than 4 times because you've been on. No, probably 4 times. All right, moving on. Here we go. We ready to talk comic books?
Let's do it.
We learned a lot about Connecticut, but let's just talk about these comic books. That's right, Chris. What do we do right now? It's a segment that you drive, that you do so well. That, again, not only do you research the interviews for our guests, you research this, look at the numbers, and you got some interesting takes on the top 10 look back props or flops. That's right. We take the top 10 comic books from cover price on a Monday, see how it does all the way through the week. Our show is on Sunday. Chris takes the 3 most interesting books off of that list and gives them and dissects them and breaks it down and tells you what all the sales were and percentages are and stuff like that. He'll give you props or flops, as we will too. But we want to hear from you guys if you think these specific books are props or flops. We'll get to those 3 books in a hot second. But right now, we're going to go through the top 10. That's right. At number 10, we have Mind Management. Number 1. At number 9, we have Star Wars Darth Vader. Number 6. At number 8, we have Batman 423. That Todd McFarlane 2022 Mega Con foil variant. At number 7, we have The Boys. Number 1 at 6. Guys, that first episode of The Boys is ridiculous. At number 6, we have Speed Racer. Number 1. Number 5, we have Thor, God of Thunder. Number 2. Number 4, we have Miles Morales, Spider-Man. Number 38, the Scan variant, 1 in 50. Number 3 of Star Wars. Number 17, the first appearance of Quinlan Voss. At number 2, we have Avengers Forever. Number 6, the first appearance of Vibranium Man, a T'Challa variant, first appearance of Star Panther. And number 1, we have Grimm. Number 1, the Flaviano second print. Guys, this is a really diverse list. It's not, overly Marvel. It's good to see a few of these indies on here as well. I'm liking what we see here. Thoughts overall, Otto, of this list?
Good books, definitely relevant to what's out right now. Driving it, all the different media is driving a lot of those books, whether it's movie, comic book, things like that. Books you expect to be there. If you're reading the tea leaves, as TiVo likes to say, or if you've got a pulse on what's coming up and things like that. So books that you expect to be there because those are books that people are posting, right?
Yep.
And things like that, and just fun books all in all. That's a great list. Like I said, like you said, different versions, indies, some foils, just things like that. So fun stuff.
And again, a good point that obviously, media kind of drives all of this, obviously MCU or DCEU, et cetera, or even other properties like The Boys on Amazon. So, Chris, I'm just excited to see what your 3 most interesting books off this list are.
Yeah, I had a lot to choose from. I got to say real quick, I didn't pick this book, but I just want to make a little comment. That foil variant, Batman 423, I continue to praise the Todd father, man. I call him the modern day Jack Kirby. And that book, the original book, not the full variant, but it's continued to increase in value just because of how amazing and how legendary Todd McFarlane as an artist has become. So just big shout out to Todd McFarlane, because I think we're not really realizing it now. 20 years from now, if we're still doing the canon, we're going to have a show that I'm telling you, I'm going to go on a massive rant about the impact of Todd McFarlane. But let's get into some top 3 picks.
Can't be denied. Let's put it that way. Yes, go ahead.
All right. My number 3 pick is, Jeff, you had me cracking up when you talked about the first episode of The Boys. The Boys number 1 is my first pick. Oh my God. When you said,
it was like, that's something you've never seen on TV before.
Oh my God.
I don't know, Otto, if you've seen.
Oh my God. I can't. It's something I wish I never saw, but it was one of the greatest things I've seen. I don't know how else to say it. Like, you're expecting one thing and you're like, okay, I get it. Oh. And then you're like, no, I don't get it. And then you're like, oh my God, did they really do that? Then I said, how the F did they do that?
Oh God.
It was crazy. It was crazy, man.
No spoilers in the comments either.
Yeah.
If I could just make one comment, unfortunately I've never read this run, but from what I've heard from people in the community, and this is usually, maybe I can say this the right way. You read a book, does a movie always live up to the expectations? It's very difficult to do. Like Ready Player One was one of the greatest books I ever read. The movie was phenomenal, but the book was still better, but they both made it good. With The Boys, I really feel that The Boys has surpassed expectations of what the book could have done because of the acting styles. You know what I mean? Of the people that they picked to do this. Anthony Starr is just, he's up there with your top 3 or 4 villaons right now. You know what I mean?
Horrendous. It's just incredible how vile how he exudes vileness. Yeah, absolutely.
Right. I mean, the only person I hated him more than him is Joffrey. From Game of Thrones. So,
So. Oh my gosh. Yeah. You know what? And you make great points, because I think what you just said is going to play into how I'm looking at this book and if I'm going to give it props or flops. But let's just look at the numbers, obviously. And folks, if you don't know, if you haven't watched this before, we take the sales data from Cover Price from when it hit the list last week. And I crunched numbers as of today for what it's done this last week, and we compare them. So when this book hit the top 10 last week, it was trending upward 119%. Last week's high 9.8 sale was 400. This week, 399. So right there, $1 less. Last week's high raw was 125. And this was an error that says this week's average raw, but it's supposed to be high. $124. So how ironic is the high 9.8 sale last week, $1 more, and then the high raw was $1 more. I just thought that was pretty funny. Now, if you look at this book and what it's done over the last couple of years since we knew the show was coming down the pipeline, there's been minor ebb and flow. Okay. And you got to understand what the comic book market has done over the last couple of years too. We had the initial, boost and boom in 2020. And then we had the 2021 summer peak, right? And it's had its own ebb and flow in the market. This book has held up very well. I mean, it's come down and come up, maybe like as the seasons come, and if that's what's influencing this book. But the one thing that I really liked about how this book is trending is that it's not doing anything extremely crazy. So we didn't get a third season and, now it's going to go up $100 and $200. It's trending upward, and we know that Cover Price picks its books based on units sold. It's not like, oh, let's pick top 10 because it hit a record high sales or something like that. It's increases in units sold. This book is moving more units, but the price is still being, substantially healthy in terms of what it's been doing on the market. What does that tell me? Well, it could tell me that maybe there's not a lot of change in terms of the amount of books on the market, but it tells me as well that at least nobody's FOMOing out and spending some exuberant amount when they don't need to. And I'm going to say this, and this is going to Otto's point. I am thoroughly enjoying the show. I'm 3 episodes into the 3rd season. I'm liking it better than the 2nd season. And I've never really been one of the over the top blood and guts. But for some reason, this show just makes it work. And it has its moments too, where it's very serious. There's a lot of depth from different realms of storytelling and entertainment in this show. And again, to Otto's point, I think this show is doing something that probably we didn't really expect, and we didn't expect out of the comic books itself. So you look at the spec market and how people spec and react to anything. Let's put MCU and DCEU aside. Even the DCEU, let's put that aside. I want to talk about indie properties specific to Netflix or, Amazon or etc. AMC, whatever the case may be, right? The one show that I really can pull out that holds weight is The Walking Dead. And there's a balance there. There's a symbiotic relationship between what the comic book did, what Kirkman did with the comic book, and how great that comic book run was in its early days, at least, and how great the show was and how they paired together. Now, I know some people felt like the show kind of tailed off, but at that point, it didn't matter. The Walking Dead is a classic now in both film media and comic book media. I can honestly say that people spec on indie properties simply because of The Walking Dead's success, and it never pans out. I think this one is. And again, I'm not trying to compare apples to apples to The Walking Dead. Like Otto said again, I don't think this book was ever what The Walking Dead was as a book, but I do feel that we're going to be years down the line, and however many seasons of this show that they do, I think this show is going to be something, and it's going to be something that we look back on. It's going to be a bit of a classic. And I think that's always going to bring people's attention to this book. So while I'm not, trying to overhype this book, I do have to give this book props because, again, I think there's long-term stamina here for this book. I think the show is doing it wonders, and I think it's going to be forever etched in the comic book community, whether, it's the books themselves or the totality of comic book entertainment in film and media as well. And again, I just want to reiterate one more time. I like that it's not exploding in price, which makes me even more okay with giving it props.
That's interesting. That's fair. Otto, your take. Props or flops on this book here?
Props. A book. This is a book that I, for some reason, didn't really know about, heard about it, respected it, saw the show. Now I want to get the book, and now I want to see the difference in it. You know what I mean? I'd love to see the way it was written versus the way the writers do it. But other than Anthony Starr, man, can we just talk about Karl Urban, how he could be one of the most underrated actors of our time? I mean, he played Judge Dredd, never took his helmet off, and it was such a kick-ass movie. I mean, he was in Lord of the Rings. He was in Star Trek. Karl Urban is by far one of my most favorite modern actors, and he's just hitting it out of the park, and his one-liners in this, and it's just amazing, and real fun stuff. And again, something I might go after if I could find it. I'm not going to go after it in a 9.8. I'd like to read it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? If I could find it on the cheap, if it's on a wall for $50-$60, I'll get it. Do I need it slabbed? No. I'm not that much of a fan of the. If I listen, I want to say this: if I find a $60 or $70 copy on a wall and it's got no spine ticks, I'll submit it. But I'm not actively going to go buy the 9.8. But I will try to find it and read it just because this has really got me into that. So that's it. So definitely props for this.
That's fair. Before I give my kind of props or flops, I just want to remind you guys, we'd love to hear from you. There are a few people who gave their input on these books. Let us know what you think or on this specific book. Guys, there's one thing that prevents me from giving it props, and that is the show isn't as accessible as like an MCU is or DCEU. It's not as accessible. You're not going to bring those new eyeballs in. Walking Dead was kind of the same thing, and it just blew. It just was this phenom. That was, a different era, I think, which was before the streaming era. So this is a tough one for me. This is really tough. Let me rephrase it. I'm a little ambivalent to give it props because of the accessibility. That being said, the show is so unique in what you said. It is a satire, but the acting is superb.
Right.
This last episode, I'm not giving spoilers away, but the guy that got out, I cannot remember his name. The guy that got out, and he's talking to his ex-wife about getting back in.
Mother's Milk.
Yes.
Yep.
For me, at that moment, I'm like, the acting is phenomenal here. Like literally, and this moment right here is real. So it's not pure satire for that. And I think it's just an excellent show. And I think the show has sustainability down the road because it's so good. So that was the only thing I had holding me back from giving it props was the accessibility. I'm going to give it props as well. So we got a hat trick on the props right there. Again, it's incredible. And what you said about Karl Urban, it can't be, he is underrated. No doubt about it. That was his decision to keep the helmet on for Judge Dredd. And you didn't need it. You didn't need it. You didn't need him. You're never like, take your helmet off. Because you knew what he was exuding at each scene. Anyways, all right. So we're moving on though, but that's a great book right there. Chris, second book from this list. What do you got?
All right. Second book is Star Wars 17. Star Wars 17 from the Dark Horse Run. This is volume 2 of the Dark Horse Run. I do believe it's first appearance of Quinlan Vos. Again, not really spoilers, but just to state why this is up here. Quinlan's name was mentioned by Obi-Wan in the Obi-Wan show. So I hope that doesn't give too much away. I mean, that's all I'll say. That's enough to know why. Oh, it piqued people's interest, and boom, here it is. So let's look at the numbers. 174% upward trend in sales when it hit the top 10. Last week's high in a 9.8, $409. That's of course when it hit the list. Now this week's $500 in that 9.8. That is a 22% increase in value. Last week's average raw, $76 when it hit the top 10. This week's average raw, $88. A little bit of an uptick. That is a 16% increase in value. All right, how do I feel about this book? I always like to stress that not only is it good to look at, okay, what was it selling for when it hit the top 10? Because that's when you can see how people react to whatever is making them hit the top 10. Okay, we got a name drop in a Star Wars TV show. So it hit the top 10, and you see this boost in units based solely on movie spec or live action spec. And then, of course, I look at what it's doing after that hype. Is it cooling off? Is the hype still going? Seems that the hype's still going, right? But it's also good to look at what the book's been doing prior to any of this. And this book wasn't a book that was a dollar bin book for a long time. It wasn't moving many units. And it definitely wasn't commanding what it's commanding right now, but it was commanding a decent amount. I don't have the exact numbers with me right now, but just doing the research, because I like to use it as a tool to say, how much is this FOMO buying? Meaning, how much of it is really just people paying crazy amounts without even giving it the opportunity to let the supply and the demand catch up to each other. I didn't really see that happening with this book. If that happened, I would have given this book props, probably just flops, just based on that alone because of the volatility. Now, I'm still wary about giving this props or flops, and I'll tell you why. Still, because of the fact that the live action spec market right now is extremely volatile. It's extremely volatile. I just did a live stream last Friday, and it was called F Your Spec. And it was with special guest Bronze Age Nerd. Go check him out, guys, if you haven't subbed up to Bronze Age Nerd's channel. Great YouTuber. And basically, we addressed the fact of how emotional we're getting when whether it's an announcement or just a rumor. And I brought up some examples like Mephisto or Omega Red. Those were rumors, right? Everyone was talking about Mephisto showing up in WandaVision. Everyone was talking about Omega Red showing up in Falcon and Winter Soldier. And then, oh, no, he's going to show up in the Black Widow movie. Never happened. But then we even talked about actual announcements like the Timekeepers in Loki or Illuminati. And again, spoilers. You might want to mute this, but I'm going to say spoiler. A little bit of one without giving too much away. The Timekeepers in Illuminati didn't pan out, right? Like slap you in the face. Haha, we got you. And we looked at all the books that correlated with these characters. And they dropped anywhere from 50 to over 60% in value and again, I took averages. I wasn't looking at highs or lows and distorting the data like some YouTubers do. I took 1 to 2 month averages from when we got either the announcement or the trailer. And then I took the averages from when the movies had dropped or the TV shows dropped. Once we realized that, oh, well, that spec didn't pan out or that spec never happened. 50 to 60% drop. So what's the point that I'm trying to make here? Well, I know that was all Marvel, but let's talk about Star Wars. Again, spoilers if you haven't seen Boba Fett.
Obi-Wan.
I won't say too much. I'll just say this.
Obi-Wan.
What's that?
Obi-Wan.
No. Boba Fett.
My bad.
No, it's all good. I'm going to talk about Obi-Wan too. There was the character. I'll just say this. There was the character that showed up with Boba Fett. And, oh my God, this character is a Boba Fett. Oh, no, he's not. Boom, gone. But then, yes, Obi-Wan. Now we get another character that showed up in Obi-Wan. Oh, nope, here they are. Nope, now they're gone. But I don't know. Maybe there's something we don't know. Now we get an announcement or a name drop of this character. So what I'm trying to say is that even in Star Wars, these specs that we get all hyped up about and we spend money in a $20 book turns into a $50 book, a $200 9.8 turns into a $500 9.8, et cetera, et cetera. the characters show up briefly and then they're gone. Quinlan Vos. Props or flops? I am going to give this one more thing.
Uh-oh.
One more thing.
Uh-uh.
Jeff, you and I both for a long time now have been talking about the Star Wars media and how it's real.
Mm-hmm.
Star Wars comic books, whether by collectors or by true Star Wars fandom, have been undervalued for a long time, and I still stand by that. I do. But I am very wary, again, about the spec market right now, and I'm very wary about the economy. I'm going to give this book flops right now. I'm going to give it flops right now, simply in the context of why it made this list. I think that if you're going out and trying to buy this book right now, simply because Obi-Wan said this character's name in an episode, you're going to lose money if you're trying to make money for a flip off of this book because of a couple factors. One, it could be years before Quinlan Vos even shows up. If that's the case, people are going to forget that Obi-Wan even said his name, especially because of the economy right now. We're not everybody is blowing money left and right on comic books because somebody said a name. People are going to forget this really fast. Or maybe we do see Quinlan, and maybe you buy it now, and maybe we actually see Quinlan in the next Mandalorian season. I mean, it's similar time periods. That can happen, but maybe we already got an Obi-Wan Series 2, so maybe it's in Obi-Wan Series 2, and so maybe it's in the next year or so. Who knows? Maybe the book jumps when we actually know that that Quinlan's coming. But what role is Quinlan going to play? How long will Quinlan be there? And how much is this? I mean, and look, I'll end on this note. No longer are the days where, and it was short-lived, right? No longer are the days where the Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni era is bridging together the Star Wars fandom. Remember that? Remember long ago, like not even 2 years ago, when Mandalorian came and everyone was like, yeah, that's how we do Star Wars. You had people that loved The Last Jedi saying, this is great. You had people that hated The Last Jedi saying, this is great. And you had everyone, putting on their little flower, things on their head and putting on their, flower dresses, their hippie bell bottoms, and they're dancing around, playing the banjo. Everyone loves Star Wars. Well, guess what? That didn't last long, because if you've been on the internet as of late, you either love it or you hate it. It's just everyone hates Obi-Wan because it's this, it's that. That's not even there anymore, folks. We are back to being completely divided, whether it's because of just ignorant stuff, whether it's because of politics, or whether it's because simply Star Wars fandom can't be satisfied. I'm very worried about this book being something that could be sustained with all of these big what ifs and question marks lingering over the head of all things Star Wars right now.
Fair enough. And before we get to Otto's opinion on this, Chris and I are always like, hey, buy what you want. Like, we're just giving our personal opinions on these things. If it's worth $500 and a 9.8 to you, go for it. That's money well spent if it's worth it to you. So don't, this is just our opinion. We're starting a conversation with it. That being said, Otto, your thoughts, props or flops on this?
We're going to start off with the flop on this. This isn't something that I'm going to go chase. This is something where I've always liked to say my collecting style for me, this isn't a marathon. This isn't a sprint. It's a marathon. I'm not going to go out and get this. This is a FOMO situation. Just because Obi-Wan said it. I mean, is there something for this, but in Star Wars, in the Star Wars books, there are so many different first appearances and so many different keys that, you know, you've got to filter out what's important to you. You know, Ahsoka. I wasn't a fan of Ahsoka. I didn't like her in a cartoon. Rosario Dawson, she did a great job. I thought those were great episodes. I still don't own it. I'm not going to go out and buy it in a high grade. If I'm digging in a long box and it's there, I'll take it. You know, but I respect everybody that loves that character. In the Star Wars universe, there's so many different characters for you to love and hate. And this isn't something that I'm going to go after. I mean, like I said, when would I go after this? Well, when it would be on my radar, let's say, we'll say that it would be on my radar. Then, you know, you follow the news. And if they say, oh, you know, Chris has just been named to play this character, you know, when they name somebody, then you might go after it and you try to flip it. You know what I mean? Or you buy it. And if it's a character you like, you keep it. But again, I'm not chasing this. This to me is so low on my radar. And just, you know, I enjoy Star Wars for other reasons. You know, Star Wars was my first love. I was 8 years old when I saw Darth Vader come on to the Tantive 4 and just wreck house. And Star Wars means so many different things to me, and it means so much more to me. And to see all these things and to talk about characters like this, I've been saying this for a long time. Everybody, a year ago, everybody was talking about null, you know, that kind of thing. I mean, my daughter's going into high school next year. I made a bet with somebody. My daughter will be out of college before we see null. Okay, I mean, I'll be closer to Social Security than anything. You know what I mean? Like that's one of those things. So if it happens, it happens, and I'm wrong, man. I'm not afraid to say it's wrong. I've missed out on books. You know, but again, it's not my collecting style. It's not something that's important to me or something that I'm going to go after. But again, you see it, you know, the cover, you know, educate yourself on it. You know, if you find it, get it. You know, if you're digging and somebody's got it for $20, get better for $20, you know. But again, I would never tell you how to spend your money, but I would just flop this all day. You know, like again, Star Wars means so much more to me than this. So,
you guys, honestly, I agree with both of you. With that being said, I'm going to preface this too. I would never spend $80 on a Raw book, $50 on this. If I, you know, maybe 20, 30, sure. Because Star Wars is very deliberate. And there was a moment there about Quinlan Voss where he recites one of his lines. Quinlan Voss was also in the Clone Wars. They're very deliberate in the things that they do. Why did they waste that 10 seconds right there? Not waste. Sure. Why did they emphasize this character?
It's there for a reason. I agree with you.
Right.
I'm not going to say he's going to show up in Obi-Wan, but I do think that there could be something to that. And with that, for me, it's a props, right?
Not what those prices. But what if he shows up not in a live action? What if he shows up in a cartoon? You know, like, I mean, Ahsoka, I guess, could be the outlier, but, you know, those characters that show up as cartoons, they're, at least in my opinion, from what the books don't spike like the other books do, you know? So again, he could show, listen, the character could show up, right? They could show up. Everything is done for a reason. They put things in Iron Man that was brought 10 years later in Infinity Gauntlet. You know what I mean? Like this stuff is thought out. It's there, but again, you don't know what kind of media is it going to be. Live action? Is it going to be, you know, animated? So, you know, but again, that's just my thoughts.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's like buying a rookie card and he hasn't made it into the big leagues yet, right? Because action is the big league.
I like that.
We can all agree on that. So you are taking that chance, no doubt. But somebody brought up in our audience, I can't remember who it was. It may have been like somebody like Matt Stadge or somebody. When the Illuminati was coming on Doctor Strange, somebody said, well, what happens if Wanda kills them all? Like literally somebody said that before the film came out. And here we are. Are people chasing those books now? No. So you're absolutely right about that, Otto. No doubt about that. But it still doesn't persuade me to go flops. I'm going to go props on this book. I'm going to be the outlier out of the three of us to say that. So, all right. Moving on. We have one more book, Chris. One more book. That was a long one. That was the meat in the
hamburger.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do we got?
Star Wars is always, man, you know, it's definitely tough because like I said, Jeff, we can have a whole conversation and do a whole show on, you know, the longevity of the totality of Star Wars, but, you know, but this one now, my number one pick, this is a very interesting one, and it kind of hits home to me too for some different reasons. And my number one pick is Avengers Forever #6. So, for those that don't know about this book, let's talk about this book real quick. This is the first appearance of Vibranium Man, and get Vibranium Man on the cover there. Enter Vibranium Man, right?
Cover appearance too.
Yeah. So okay. So this is what it is. Vibranium Man is a different, a multiversal variant of T'Challa. All right, and in this, so let's put things into context. First off, this is Vibranium Man's first appearance, and then Vibranium Man is gone. Because Vibranium Man in the story turns into Star Panther. Something, I'm going to give it all away. Something happens in the story that changes the character, and then he takes on this mantle of Star Panther. So, that's context. Let's look at these numbers real quick. 228% upward trend in sales when it hit the top 10. Last week's high was a 9.8 sale of $89.99 on eBay. This week's $89.99 on eBay. But get this. This is a big question mark. These were both pre-sales from the same eBay seller. All right, hold your thoughts. Last week's average raw, $15. This week's average raw, $11. That's a 27% decrease in value. I always say take that with a grain of salt because it's an average. You don't know if there was more high grades maybe being sold the week before that could have distorted it one way or the other. But there was an outlier of the last week too that sold for $35, but it was an outlier. I didn't even include that in the average. There's big question marks here with what's going on with these graded books. First off, there was no other graded books for sale that had sold any grade. I forgot to check the census. I like doing that too. But if you look at this seller's eBay, this seller has multiple 9.8 pre-sales. If you look at the image, you can tell he photoshopped like a blank CGC label with the 9.8 and then put the image of this book on top of it. And it even said in the description, like fast tracked, expected delivery July or something like that.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. This person is basically either they're a shop owner or a dealer of some sort that has had this book or multiple copies of this book and was sitting on them and is now doing the what do you call it, where you pay the $5 for the 9.8
the pre-screen. Yep.
Now they're doing the pre-screen and sending all these books in fast tracked because there is some type of rumor going on. Now, of course, what's the rumor? Well, we have Black Panther 2 coming later this year. We're getting so close to it. And we don't have, this is why I said this is close to home with me. We don't have Chadwick Boseman. We already know that Marvel Studios, Kevin Feige, and everyone has come out saying that we're not, recasting the character T'Challa. So what does that mean? Oh, Shuri's taking up the mantle. Oh, M'Baku's going to take up the mantle. Or now that we are really deep into the multiverse, it would be so easy to bring in Idris, what's his name? Desmond Idris, I forget his first name, to play a variant of T'Challa. Now I say Idris because remember, Jeff, I said nobody's replacing Chadwick unless it's this guy. And guys, if you have watched the show Snowfall, he's the main character. He plays Franklin in Snowfall. Anyways, people are thinking that they're going to bring a new actor in to play a variant of T'Challa. Now, also, you got to understand that Kevin Feige is behind the comic book side of Marvel right now. So you got to think this. Where is this rumor coming from? Well, you got a new book comes out that's showcasing a variant. Could it be? And remember, I said this a lot, Jeff. Remember in the 2010s when the MCU started booming? You know, we got the Avengers film and it just took off from there. And then we knew the Infinity Saga was coming. What did the comic books do? They started seeing what was going on in the films and then rehashing that out in the comic books. When we want the comic books to tell the stories, and then we want the movies to kind of take from the comic books, even if they switch it up a little bit and make it their own thing. We don't want to rehash back into the comics. And I've been saying with Kevin Feige in charge of the comics, we're going to see more of that. They're going to be telling fresh, unique stories that are going to be taking place in the comics. And then we might see those pan out some form or fashion in the films or the TV shows. So I think there is valid spec on this book for a new book because it just came out, 2 weeks ago now. And I get it. I understand. Everything that I just said makes me understand why people would want to jump on this book. But somebody is sitting there, either a reseller or a store that has an eBay store and they're sitting on a bunch of copies, or you had somebody go into a store when these came out, they picked up a bunch of copies off the shelf and they're, pre-selling them, doing a pre-screen. So this person sets the tone of a $90 purchase point. I wouldn't let this be indicative of what this book is doing or can do on the market. Because if you think about it, depending on how many books this person's shipping out in the order, you already got $20-something plus taxes and shipping. I always estimate a modern book being $30. If you're fast tracking it, what are they charging for fast track now? $15 a book? It's crazy. That's $45 for this book right here. Estimated average. If half of them don't come back, a 9.8, and you're pre-screening them, that's $5 that you got to put on top of the cost of the books that do come back, 9.8. So you're looking at this individual spending about $50 just to get this book graded. So you're really paying $90 to eat a lot of this individual's costs. So you're probably paying roughly around $40 for the actual book to be in a 9.8 slab. That's not bad. It's not bad. Because if people are FOMOing on this book and there was an actual 9.8 on the market, on auction, what can happen to that book? It can go way above $90. Way above $90 because people might be in their FOMO. Props or flops? I think that this individual that is pre-selling these books is actually doing people that want to speculate on this a favor. What am I saying by that? Does that mean I'm giving this props for you to go and telling you to go spend $90 on this book and a pre-sale 9.8? No. But if you're a gambling man or a gambling woman and you want to invest in this book simply because you want to take a gamble, if you're willing to walk into that casino with $90 in your pocket, knowing that, hey man, I love the risk. I'm going to walk in here with $90 and I know that I can walk out with $50, maybe I can walk out with $200, but maybe I can walk out with not a dime left in my pocket. If you're that person spending $90 on this book in a 9.8, it might be something for you because what did I just say? If this spec, this rumor spec continues even just for the next few weeks, we might see a book go up for auction, and the way that people have been specking on books, it might get bid up to $200. You never know. Personally, me, I wouldn't spend any type of money like that. But people are paying 11, 15. I think the highest this week was 19. That was the highest for this book, Raw. And I'll tell you, if something happens with this type of variant showing up in the MCU, you never know what it can do. So I'm not mad at anybody taking a $4.99 cover price book and paying $11 or $15 for it if they think that something can happen with it. Just for that reason, I'll give this book props. And again, before I wrap up, I want to sum this up one more time and why I'm giving this props. It's still low risk. You're not spending a whole bunch of crap money. You're just paying maybe 2 to 3 times cover price. And you are, and you know, or you better know, that you're taking a gamble. Because, quite honestly, the chances of this happening are probably slim. But hey, you never know. And that's what I got for you.
Okay, all right. Well, I got an opinion on this, but we got to let guests go first. Otto.
Thank you. Cool cover. I wouldn't even buy it. I wouldn't even buy it to grade it. It's not something that I would go after. Cool. I love Vibranium. The story behind it is great. When they talked about it in Black Panther and the country of Wakanda and everything like that. I love the lore. But again, cool cover. Love that he's on it. Would I buy it? Probably for the cover. Am I going to go out and grade it? No. Am I going to find and grade it? So this is a flop for me. This is, something that I do it. But again, listen, if you're a gambling man, hey, listen, I hit 16 all the time. I'm not afraid. I'll hit 16 all day and yell at 4, and if I break, I break. But so, more times than not, hopefully I'll make a hand. But I wouldn't even go after this. I don't know anything about this. So this is definitely not in my wheelhouse of collecting right now. So yeah, but I really appreciate the information. That was really thorough.
Yeah, and you're, absolutely fair in what you're saying, and I'm definitely leaning towards your thought behind this as well. I'll add just one more thing to your thought, Otto, and that is everybody's trying to find the next Tosin. You know what I mean? Like, because Tosin was hot for how long? And I don't see it. I think this is a shot in the dark. I think it's a little bit like it's the whole, I don't know, racing to get to the top in a way. I don't know. I would get it for cover. Definitely get it for cover, but overall, I give this flops, no doubt about that. I would not pay any of those, nothing more than cover on this thing. I could probably go to one of my local comic shops and it's still there. I believe I haven't been, I haven't checked out new books in a bit, but I know of one place that would probably still have this. So I could be wrong, but I would give this book flops, no doubt. So, all right.
Let me say one more thing too, because I think it's very important. Again, in my light is like hating me right now. I don't sit and base my opinion. Again, I'm saying this for all the viewers here, because we all collect differently, and we all can gauge a comic book on the market and how we spend our money and why we spend our money in different ways. And that's why I said, Jeff, I said this before. If we were specifically looking at 9.8 values, any book that I talk about on these lists every week, what would I give them? Every single book.
Flops.
I'd give them all flops.
Yeah.
If we were specifically looking at every book, we'd do the same thing in the 9.8 sales. I'd be saying the same thing. This segment would take 60 seconds because Jeff would show each image. We'd look at the 9.8 sale price, whether it was up, down, steady, and I'd look at it and I say 9.8, $200, flops. Next, boom, flops. Because I have never bought a 9.8 book in my life, and I probably never will, especially for modern books. This book right here, I told you all specifically. Do I think that this is even going to happen? I doubt it. But I gave context to, well, you do have Kevin Feige behind on the comics, and who knows? So my train of thought on giving this props is this. It's specifically from the factor of looking at how volatile the spec market has been. We have seen worse books that are just ridiculous, because we saw somebody's left toe, and they're out the gate. They're out the gate. Back issue book from 1999 that nobody even whatever, and they're selling for $80. Easy. 40 copies over last week. They hit 40. They hit 60. Now they're selling for 80. And some random 9.8 sells for freaking $400. So, again, I just want everyone watching to know, you got to understand what you're doing. You got to understand what you're doing and why you're doing it. There is almost, unless you are completely dirt poor and you're 5 months behind on your car note and your bills, and you're not feeding your kids and they're running around with no shoes or socks on, don't even spend $15 on this book. Go get your goddamn kids some socks. But unless you're not that, and you specifically look at speculation, tell me, when you're looking at a cost benefit analysis, where even for this book, the benefit might be very slim, your cost is just as slim. So if you want to go spend $11 to $15 on this book, it's like putting $10 to $15 in a penny stock. $10 to $15 in a penny stock. Essentially, if that stock completely crashes and you're left with literally a penny, anybody that's investing in the market is going to walk away from that and say, well, at least I rolled the dice, right? So that's my context on why I gave this book props the way I did. Everyone else's opinions, Jeff's and Otto's opinions on this book on why they gave it props is very valid for their perspectives. And that's why nobody's right or wrong here. And you all have to really dive into each book and what you're doing as a collector and figure out what's right for you.
Well said. Again, we're just here giving our individual opinions. You guys, if you feel it's worth it to you to spend that much money, or exceed, in any sort of, get a 9.8, what have you, go for it. If it's worth it to you, it's worth it to you. All right, right there, that ends the top 10 look back props or flops. Looking forward to that list next week, but we're going to move on right here to a segment that we do. This is a big segment, guys. Otto's playing a huge part in this. Huge part in this. He is the judge, jury, and executioner. Actually, he's just the judge. Just the judge. None of the other stuff needs to happen. Yeah, we are going to get right into it. But before we do, I think it was Raising Elm Comics asked how my daughter's recital was. Thank you so much. I mean, how could it be that bad? I mean,
right. Look at that. There you go.
I'm just a proud papa just showing it off. Otto, I know you've been there before. I know your kids are older. I'm trying to take in every moment. Chris, your kids are older. It's just, it's incredible. You just want them to stop growing. And I know you both agree with that whole thing. And you parents out there as well. So, man, I just got off my flow here. But we're going to get into this segment that we do. Chris, I cannot remember the name. What's it called again?
Fresh from the
Comic Shop 5 That's right. That is a Will Smith reference. Fresh Prince, actually. Not the one I ruined at the top of the show. But we ask you, the audience, to give us your fresh gets each and every week on the IG, a.k.a. the IG, a.k.a. the Instagram, and you all deliver. Not only do we ask you to do that, you all know that you could win some amazing slabs right here on the Canon with Fresh from the Comic Shop. We have good friend and sponsor of the show, Tony Trombetta with EGS Comics, giving us, just dishing out some amazing slabs just for submitting your fresh gets. Chris, look at this amazing June slab. That's right. It's Wonder Woman.
Oh, look at that. That's
68, awesome. A 9.8 here. As you know, you can get these custom slabs. Chris, take it away with EGS. What do we got with EGS?
All right, guys, you know how you can enter Fresh from the Comic Shop by just hashtagging FFTCS on the gram, on the IG, but you're not automatically entered in to win one of these awesome EGS slabs. In order to actually be entered in to win the slab, you have to be following EGS on IG at EGS Comics. You also have to subscribe to EGS on YouTube, link in the description below. And then what do? You submit your fresh gets on the gram, folks.
Well, it doesn't stop there, too, because that's not, the EGS is still giving away some stuff to everybody, even if you don't win. And what is that, Chris?
Yeah, guys. Well, you can get some money back or save some money on your orders to EGS when you're submitting some books to get graded and slab. You can save 5% if you use the code Cannon5. And of course, here we have an assortment of some custom labels that EGS can whip up for you guys. They also have the universal certified blue label. You can see that beautiful Hulk 181 with the classic blue label on it there as well. So again, custom labels are optional, but EGS works with you guys, man. I mean, you guys, if you have an idea for a custom label, they work with you to get it to pinpoint of what you guys are looking for. But again, EGScomicsgrading.com. Check them out, guys. Check out their website. If you have any questions, reach out to them. And hey, give them a shot. 5% off Canon 5.
No doubt about it. Guys, before we get into Fresh from the Comic Shop, I just want to send out a friendly reminder that this could be the last episode of the Canon. If we do not get 3,203 subs on 3 Men in a Basement, that's it. That's it. We're done. Otto, Roger, and Dave, they're going to be like, you know what? Thanks for trying, but the Canon has got to shut down.
So we only need 3 more. The irony of it: 3 dudes, 3 subs. Come on!
Oh wow! I love it.
Number 3's all over the place right now.
It's simple as hitting the link down below in the description. It's right there. Also, I don't know. Otto, he's going to hold this against me because he's now an alumnus. He has say. He's kind of like feeling like a board member.
Oh right.
Gotta follow Everett or Otto at the old Instagram. I keep calling you Everett. It's just too easy because it says Everett in the front of this tag.
Right. Well, so I use Otto because Everett gets butchered 7 ways from Sunday. Right. Like, what's your first name? And it happened my whole life. Like growing up, what's your first name? Everett, Elliot, Edgar? No, it's Everett.
Oh, geez, really?
Right. Yeah. So my grandfather from Germany, he was Otto, and when I was in college, my roommate started calling me that, and it just kind of really stuck. And listen, it's Otto. It's 4 letters. 2 of them are the same. You can't screw it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true, actually.
Plus, an Otto is my grandfather, who was a great man, too. And it is a family name.
You are the only Otto I do know, and I really enjoy saying Otto, especially Otto.
I appreciate it. There you go.
How you play with that. Anyways, follow Otto at Everett Otto.
That's right.
All right. So here we go. We're going to get into these fresh gets this week. We're going to see who our second semifinalist is. But before we do that, before Otto gets to judge, we need to remind you guys what the criteria is for judging these submissions. 3 things we look for. It's presentation, how you compose your shot, get as artistic and think outside the box thinking as possible. We like to see, especially professional photographers, they do a great job, but also incorporate some fun things into your shot. We've seen a lot of variety. There's actually a couple shots here that are really outside the box, and I'm excited to show those. So again, presentation is big. Unique. How unique is the book? Again, unique does not mean it's a $10,000 book. Unique is something that you bring to the table like, hey, check this out. This is really cool because of this. A person who does that very well is a gentleman by the name of Mark Lineker. He has a nice book this week as well. And story. This goes a long way. What does this book mean to you? It could remind you of a family member. It could be how you first started getting into collecting comics. It could have helped you through a hard time. Explain those things to us. Give us the story behind this book, why it's important to you, and we'll take that into account as well. All right, Everett, or Otto. I should never have brought
It's all good, brother. It's all good, man. There you go.
Man, Jesus Christ. We are about to start this thing. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
We're going to start with Marvel Man 616 Comics. Mail call. Miles Morales, Spider-Man 38, featuring the first appearance of Billy Morales as an adult. This is the KRS Comics exclusive. I love this cover, guys. And this was a hot book, I think last week or 2 weeks ago when it first came out. So good submission right there. Marvel Man 616. Next up, we got Comic Demon. Now, Otto, this gentleman here has won. So he is not eligible to win now. I just want to throw that out there. There are a few people here that have already won. But still, great submission nonetheless. Seems like I've been a week behind in my new Comic Week Day posts. Plus, need to get some of the great finds I've been scoring. Guys, Firepower, I love reading that. I'm behind like 5 or 6 issues, but that is such a great, great book. All right, moving on into Oblivion, another former winner here. We got Amazing Spider-Man 14, CGC number 2.5. Everybody, this is great advice that he gives right here. First appearance of the Green Goblin, a.k.a. Norman Osborn. First meeting battle between the Amazing Spider-Man and Incredible Hulk. When you can't afford a superhero's first appearance, I tend to go for the first appearance of their nemesis. Not a bad idea at all into Oblivion. Good stuff indeed. Super Crispy Comics. Hells yeah, I was dollar bin diving the other day with my brother, and he pulled this double signed Spawn by the writers. That's what's up right there. See, that's a well-composed shot right there, just aesthetically speaking. I like how the depth of field is in the back. And by the way, it's just a fantastic cover as well. Oh, Macross Plus Comics. Fresh can be. This one is too hot to handle. It's going straight in the box. I promise we'll spend more time together tonight, Ivy. Ugh, I don't know what that means. Poison Ivy 1, Frank Cho 1 in 50. All right. Otto, now is the time of the Fresh from the Comic Shop where you show off your first fresh get, not all three at once. Some people like to change the rules. This is still Chris and my show, but you are a guest co-host. Just wanted to give you that right there. So what do you got? First fresh get this week.
So this book is something that's really, really cool. So I had to, about a year ago, I had to reinvent myself for comic book collecting. You can only chase the big keys so much. Mm-hmm. You can only go after certain books. And I've been very fortunate. Before the market exploded, I was able to buy a lot of those bigger keys for a cheap price, right? Mm-hmm. But I don't know how to say this, but then I had to kind of reinvent what I was collecting, okay? And I saw a lot of my friends start with sketches. And I was like, all right, that's pretty cool. But what can I make for me that's cool, right? Like, what can I do that's unique to my comic book collecting style? And I think a lot of people that follow me will know this. So Jean Grey is my favorite character, right? Just Jean Grey is my favorite character. Phoenix, Dark Phoenix, the Chris Claremont, John Byrne run is probably my number one comic line behind Marv Wolfman's Teen Titans with George Perez, right? So that's me. That's what I grew up with. That's my love. So I started thinking like, all right, Jean Grey would be really cool. But what if we took Jean Grey and mashed it up with another character that I think is really cool? So then like a year ago, and this isn't the book that I'm going to show, I had an artist, Ron Leary, who's just an amazing, amazing artist, did a X-Men cover with Jean Grey, but I wanted her to have this Game of Thrones look, okay? Like, what would Jean Grey look? And I don't have it. You can go back and look in my hashtag Otto's comic book collection. And he did an amazing sketch of Jean Grey in battle armor with the Phoenix logo on her chest. And then she had her familiar was the Phoenix, just really cool. So then I started reaching out to other artists. Hey, what can we do? Can we do this? Can we do this? Now there's a local guy he was from Connecticut, he moved to Maine, pretty prominent in the independent artist community. His name is George Deep. George Deep is an amazing artist. You can follow him on Instagram. You can follow him on YouTube. And last year at Terrificon, I said, George, I want to do a Captain America Phoenix. Okay, what can you do? And he goes, I don't know. What do you want me to do? And I don't know, George, you're the artist. I tell you, just put Jean Grey and Captain America together. I don't care. And I'll pay you whatever, dude. You know, I mean, this is artists. This is their livelihood. This is what they do. So he goes, no problem. I'll take care of it. And then, you know, life gets busy. And I run into him a couple months later. Hey, Otto, I haven't forgot about you. Hey, Otto, I haven't forgot about you. Don't worry about it, George, man. You know, if you get to it in a year, you get to it in a year, man. But I just want something unique from you because first and foremost, he's a good friend. He's a talented artist, and I wanted something different. So this past year, there was a show back in April, Little Giant Comic-Con up in New Hampshire. George was up in Maine, moved up to Maine, and I'm like, George, you coming? No, I'm not coming. George, you coming? No, I can't. I mean, he's giving me every excuse in the world. Saturday, the con's going on. I turn around, he goes, what's up, Otto? And George is right there next to me. I go, you mother effer, dude. Did I get you? He's like, yeah, I got you. And I guess there was this whole side conversation about George surprising me there, right? Yeah. So then we started talking. He goes, hey, Otto, I got this for you. I made this for you. And he had the sketch for me, okay? And this by far is probably one of the most important things in my collection for this group. Like I'm only going to do 12 of them because you only can collect so many of them. But this one by far is one of my favorites.
Oh my, look at that.
This is what he did for me.
Oh, wow.
And it's just amazing, and it just blew me away. And he gifted it to me, and between the Kirby crackle and the fire, the only thing I knew that he was going to put the logo, he was going to put the Phoenix logo on the shield, and I knew that. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, it brought me to tears. I'm sorry to say. I mean, it hit me at a time where I was like, my God, to think that somebody did this for me, took hours and hours to do this and gifted it to me, and wanted nothing more than a thank you and a handshake. Is truly a blessing, and something that really how the comic book community kind of blows me away. But that being said, I want to get sappy, but look how dope this is, man. This thing is straight fire, right?
Yes.
Like, I mean, the X-Men's all over the place. The detail with the belt with the X-Men logo, the power, the fire, the shading in it. And George is he's a collector of my era. So Byrne, John Byrne, Dave Cochran's my favorite artist. So he really, really did this. And this by far is one of my favorite books that I have in this. So I've got a few other ideas. I have a couple other really, really cool ones that I posted. But again, I'm only going to do 12 of these. And this by far is one of my favorites. So this is my fresh from the comic shop, if I said that right. So there you go.
That is fantastic. You're getting a lot of love here in the chat, man. Honestly, that's one of the best sketches I've ever seen.
Right. Well, here's the thing. I mean, you guys, whether it's modern books, keys, or I had to reinvent myself, right? Yeah. I had to reinvent myself. But what I'm going to do for my collecting, like, I collect coverless comics. We'll talk about that. I go after the 0.5s and all those different things. So this has been a real, really fun journey. I've only got 4 more slots to do. I've got some ideas. One of the things, speaking about Star Wars, is I'm going to reach out to Sketch Card Girl. She does amazing sketches, and I'm going to have her do all 3 of my kids, Everett, my oldest, my daughter Zoe, and Cristiano, as Jedi, as like a Jedi version of Phoenix with their faces on it. You know what I mean? So the wheel's always spinning. Just mash it all up, man. It's your collection. Do what you like. So wanted to show this off. Thank you very much for letting me show this off, because this definitely needs to be seen.
I'll tell you what, out of all of our guests, we've seen some incredible stuff. That's definitely top 5 right there. I really, we're talking Amazing Fantasy 15 too. Some people,
hey man, it's
so you're all with that,
right? I mean, what is it worth to me?
Exactly,
it's worth a lot. It's borderline priceless. That somebody 8 months later would, like I said, gift this to me, spend this time, and just. I'm getting sappy, man, but that's about it.
Nah, dude, you have every right to. That's a beautiful cover. That's really, we're happy that you shared that with us. That's one of the best we've seen. So
thank you.
Good stuff. And actually, you're probably the first that brought a sketch. One of first guest that brought a sketch.
Yep.
You are one. You are the first. Yeah. So that's really cool. All right. So y'all, there you go. Glad you tuned in. Right. Moving on. Here we go. Who do we have next? We got Mike Dyson, 2099. He had a few books here. First appearance of the Jason Todd is Red Hood.
Love it.
That's a classic book right there. Really interesting how Jason Todd was gone for 30 years and you bring him back like that. I mean, who doesn't like that? All right, moving on. We got Super Rad Comics. He's like the Susan Lucci of fresh from the comic shop, by the way.
Yeah, look at that.
My local comic shop has punched a card system where every full card can be cashed in for $10 worth of comics. And I had the exact amount of cards needed to walk out with this low-grade beauty. Nice. I felt like a kid cashing in my tickets at Peter Piper's or Pistol Pete's for my fellow San Antonians all over again. Score! Guys, I don't understand the Peter Piper's or the Pistol Pete reference. Is that no, Chris, I think you laughed. I don't understand that one. Matt, Super Rad, that is definitely a nice book to have. As 360 says, low grade is better than no grade.
That's right.
Well said indeed. Matt Stadge, nothing too special here. I mean, he says nothing too special here. I'm like, come on, man. Really? They're all special. Nothing too special here, but it's 2 more Spidey books checked off the list. Loving the mid-grade books. Better prices, and if you find the right copy, very presentable. Those definitely look presentable.
Very linear, same grade, 33, 34, right? Yeah.
Yep.
So that's
beautiful. So they're definitely nothing too special here. Honestly, you should never be allowed to submit again, but we still want we got comic books of Planet Oa. What do you got here? Today's local comic shop pickup is fresh from the comic shop. Justice League Road to Dark Crisis #1, Multiversity Teen Justice #1, and Dark Knights of Steel Number 7, guys, I have to admit, I have completely fallen off of this DC. It's hard for me to keep up with these Final Crisis, Dark Crisis, all that stuff. Not knocking it at all. Just for me personally, I'm having trouble keeping up. Just wanted to bring that up. Chris, your first fresh get of the week.
All right, Jeff. I know you're going to give me crap. Can I switch up my first fresh get?
If we didn't know any differently, if you didn't say anything, we wouldn't have known.
Well, it's a little bit different, and I'm doing this because Otto's book was so awesome, and just his theme. I really wanted to show this off, and this is like really for him. So I'm breaking the rules here, guys.
Right on. Let's do it, man. Let's break all the rules. Let's tear it down, man. Let's tear down the walls.
You can't blame me. Otto's encouraging me to break the rules. So.
That's fair.
All right, Otto, I'm an artist myself. I don't know if you knew that. I loved your story. Obviously, the artwork is absolutely amazing. I want to get in touch with this guy because he's awesome. But your story inspired me, and it reminded me of something that I did that another community member. Big shout out to Matt with the boy who had 7.
Yeah.
He is a huge Harry Potter and Justice League Dark fan. And he was doing a similar thing where he wanted to go to different artists and get different mashups. Like he wanted Wonder Woman on the cover fighting what's the Voldemort, right?
Voldemort, yeah.
Something
awesome,
like that,
awesome.
like mashing them up on blank covers. And he reached out to me wanting me to do one with Swamp Thing. So I'm going to show off my book now. It's just a picture on the phone. Obviously, he has it. I don't have it. The thing with him is that he wanted really kind of like cartoonish stuff, and I do more like kind of realism. So he didn't know what to expect, but he really loved it. And let me try to show this off. So this is my mashup of Harry Potter and Swamp Thing.
Oh, that looks nice.
Look at that.
Wow. Chris.
Wow.
And this is obviously Daniel Radcliffe. He's got the Z on his
right.
The scar. Not the Z, the lightning bolt scar on his forehead, and they're just going. He's got his wand in the hand, and they're running after. So
love it. That's amazing, man. That's good for you, dude. Wow.
Dude, that's beautiful. The detail on that, we've seen your work here before. You are definitely talented, and that right there is another example of that. That's a really nice piece. I do also want to mention that like a few of you were like a few of our audience members thought you were going to show off an NFT, and they're happy. They're happy you did.
Oh, you know what? That actually. What if artists like what's your artist? What's the name
George
of the guy?
George Deep. Yeah,
George. This guy, man. What if artists that do custom covers turn them into their own unique NFTs?
Sure, absolutely.
Wow, that's an idea
right there. You're on to something. Either way, the art is appreciated, and both of you guys are putting me to shame. I'm done. I'm not even going to show anything. Moving on, though, we got, who do we have? C to the G is who we have.
Nice.
If it's not Star Wars, it's going to be some X-Men. A small book crossed off from my impossible grail run of X-Men 94 to 300. X-Men, Uncanny X-Men 168, a classic Kitty Pryde cover by Paul Smith. It also features the first appearance of Madeline Pryor as an adult. I like what he did here.
Yes.
I don't know if you could tell, like obviously the circle and all that. Yes. It's well done how this is presented. So that's a good example of presentation right there. Moving on, we got Nukes Comics. Nukes Comics, fresh from the comic shop, Captain America 255. They picked up from Keith's Comics. It's cool to see a retelling of Cap's origin story. My son is getting into Captain America, so this goes to his PC. It's always great getting your kids into the things that you love. And, Otto, you were talking about John Byrne. This is a great John Byrne issue here as well. We talk about loving John Byrne on this show quite a bit. So, all right, next up, do you guys remember from the news, we were talking Thunderbolts, how there's, a director signed on. We mentioned a person by the name of Nori Jordan. This doesn't even come close to what he owns. but he picked up more.
Oh my God.
Of course he did.
It was a very long and tiring week. I returned home from work Thursday and was having an awful night. Then I looked at my phone and saw wonderful and much needed news. Thunderbolts are officially coming to the MCU. This week was also a good week in books, but now the damn FOMO buyers are going to make covers more expensive. You own all the books, Nori. Jesus. So he said he bought a set of Thunderbolts 1-34, which includes the rare second print cover and Jolt's first appearance. He has 6 of those now for only $40. $40 for that 1-34 set. Then I picked up more #1 direct and newsstand copies. He has 42 of those, everybody. Next, I picked up a CGC 9.8 175. It's not a major key, but a great cover. I also picked up some one-shots. I needed and Baron Zemo limited series. I can't wait to see what the MCU has planned for the Thunderbolts. You are the biggest Thunderbolts fan out there. There is no doubt about that, Nori. This is all well-deserved, considering that you have a second house that holds all of your Thunderbolts.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's insane. It's insane. All right, guys, I'm going to get to my first fresh get. It's going to be very quick. Dollar bin diving. I like this cover. I liked the first episode of Miss Marvel.
Yes.
This is Marvel #1, the action figure variant. I like this cover too.
John Tyler Christopher right there.
It's fun, right? I mean, yeah, all of his work is fun, and some of them are popping for good reason. I don't think this is one of those issues that's popping, but you can't go wrong with Little Miss Marvel. She's going to be a player in the MCU. There's no doubt about that, everybody. No doubt about that. Moving on. Oh, that's a custom cover too, guys. I asked an artist to produce this. John.
John. You call John?
Yeah, he did that for me, and then he produced mass amounts of them and gave them to everybody else. Moving on. We have Brian P. Meister. Where are you, Brian? There you are. Previously, I told you about losing 2 different comic collections to a house fire and theft.
Oh, God.
Though I rebuilt most of my collection, I've been slow to acquire Iron Man 282 because of the market price. Iron Man 282 newsstand was the first Iron Man comic I bought as a kid. I'll say this again. Iron Man 282 newsstand was the first Iron Man comic I bought as a kid. I'm glad to finally have this high-grade example back in my collection. Guys, when we told you about stories, that's a good example of a story. That's the first book he bought off the newsstand as a kid, and we're glad that you have that back after those unfortunate circumstances took your first issue away. But that's a perfect example. We want to see that from you all. Here we go. Mark Leneker does it again. This is another former winner right here. Superman #82 from 1953. Pretty sure that predates the 3 of us. Got it from a longtime owner, he said. Lois goes undercover in Women's Army Corps, and of course, Soups has to do the KP. I don't know what the KP is.
Kitchen protocol or something like that. Yeah.
Oh, okay, interesting. The story isn't as bad as the cover might imply. This is good too. Also, this is a good example of a unique book. This was an error issue because the 10-cent price was left off the cover. It also has a very early ad for the Adventures of Superman TV show, which was debuting that year. That's a special book, especially the fact that it was an error issue. Unique, everybody. Unique. No doubt about that. All right, Otto, your second fresh get of the week. What do you got?
All right. So another fun book, something that I started collecting this, and I was talking to Roger's brother the other night, Dave, over on 3 Men in the Basement, and we were talking about coverless comics, and he goes, well, I have a second coverless now. I go, so now you collect coverless? And he goes, well, no, I have 2. Does that constitute a collection? I go, well, it's more than 1. So, right? So now you are collecting that. So I started doing this, collecting them, the coverless books, because about a year, well, first and foremost, I don't know how to say this. So I started collecting these because I thought it was fun, because you could read them, you can do whatever you want, and you could, they're just great things to have. But a lot of them do have value. But about a year and a half ago, I heard an interview that somebody was retelling about Stan Lee. And it really, really hit home for me. Now, Stan, of all the things that he was very good at marketing, right? He was very good at marketing and selling his product and stuff like that. And he would tell his artists, I heard this from, a Marvel legend. about this, and he would say Stan wanted the inside page to be just, or if not better than the cover, for the reason that the cover is why you buy it off the spinner rack, like behind me or the thing, right? The cover is why you buy it. When you open it up and you see that first page, that's why you buy the book. All right. So that's your, oh my God, look at this. I have to buy this. Mom, I need 25 cents. I need 15 cents, or I need $1.25. Right. So I started collecting these, and I started finding them. And then I noticed that when you have a back cover and you get it graded, it comes back a 0.5. So I've actually started amassing 0.5 books. Okay.
Incredible.
Because yes, no, it's unbelievable. I've gone down this rabbit hole, but again, it's been something fun. I don't mind paying for the slab fee, but when you buy a coverless book, it has to have a back cover for it to come back a 0.5. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I was digging in a long box at a show. I pulled this out and I said I had to buy it. And this is Silver Surfer #1. We all know the iconic cover of Silver Surfer on the front, but the inside page is this.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, it tells you right now the origin of the Silver Surfer. Different. John Buscema completely changed up his body in this. Instead of coming right at you, he's now tilted. You can see the glide, and it's a 0.5, and it's incomplete. Front cover missing, but again, it's Stan Lee, John Buscema, Joe Sinnott, Gene Colan. I mean, these are Marvel greats. This is the origin of the Silver Surfer. Tales of the Watchmen is on this, and it does have the back cover, right? So had it have not, it would just come back incomplete. So I have been actively collecting these 0.5s, and it's been a lot of fun. It doesn't break the bank, and you can see how just amazing this is. So this is something that I just recently got, and I thoroughly love it. And again, a 0.5. So I don't know. That's really cool, So, and when I heard that interview, I was blown back by it. I remember I was walking my dog, listening to it, and I must have rewound it like 3 or 4 times when I heard him say that the first page is as important, if not as important, as the cover, and it makes complete sense. And that's why. So thanks a lot. So that 30 seconds that I listened to is now why I've got about 6 of these, but it's really cool though, man. I love them.
Dude, first off, Stan Lee changed the industry in many ways, and that's yet another way. Second, I've not heard of people collecting these, but I think that's one of the coolest things, because you can display that, like the way you can display that and present it.
Right.
So that Buscema picture right there, I'm going to bring it up again. It's just gorgeous, man. Look at how elegant he is. Like it's you just feel how elegant he is gliding through the vastness of space. It's so cool.
Right. And again, if it's a book that you buy for investment purposes, when you buy it graded, you never open it up and you never see this great part of it unless you see it in a reprint and stuff like that. So again, the front pages are always really cool. So
that's amazing. And like, that's got me intrigued, actually.
Mark has a question. Would it make it a 1.5? No, it's a 0.5. It's incomplete because the front page is missing. So at least that's my understanding. And I could be wrong, but all my coverless that have backs are 0.5s. So
cool, man. So cool. Really appreciate you showing that one. Definitely. All right, we're going to move on to our fine people that watch this show from time to time. And next one is 630 Collectibles. I like this submission. Just going to say that. I have to strap it, baby. I used the gift card from Comic Book Canon and finally pulled the trigger on the first full appearance of Silk. I may be in the minority here, but I found the past couple Silk miniseries to be very enjoyable, and I've grown to like the character a lot. Happy to have this book in the PC. Thanks for helping me with the fresh get. Now, I don't remember why we sent 630 Collectibles a gift card.
Matt Labno.
What's that?
That's Matt Labno.
Was that for Fresh from the Comic Shop?
He won remember that got the My Comic Shop gift card?
Okay, so if that's Fresh from the Comic Shop, he's not eligible to win. However, that is a great submission, and we're glad we helped get you this book, because that book, if we're going props or flops in that book right now, that's a props, no doubt, every day, no doubt about that. All right, next up, we got Comic Toby. What do we got from Comic Toby? Here at Comic Toby, aka Gus, we have signed memorabilia like these 2 copies of Ultimate Spider-Man #5, signed by Mark Bagley, and the collected book 1 through 3 is autographed by Brian Bendis. Good stuff, man. Good stuff, comic. Toby, good stuff indeed. Christopher, second fresh get of the week. What do you got? Well, by the way, these are hard to top. Otto, he's bringing it. He's playing fresh from the comic shop, no doubt.
Yeah, I got a half a box of coverless Silver Age.
Time out. Matt Labno is clarifying here. It was for answering correct the trivia correctly, so he is eligible for freshman.
Oh, okay. It was for our 1,000.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
1,000 subscriber.
Okay, so he is eligible, Otto. Just putting that out there.
Okay.
Just making a note. And he was given he's like, definitely buckle up that book. All right. What do you got, Christopher?
All right. So, we've had so many great already. What was there 3? I know there was a couple. Silver Age Amazing Spider-Mans. We had the first appearance of Green Lantern, and then who was Matt Stash has just posted those 4.5.
Yes.
So
yes.
You guys aren't going to get away with showing something.
He said nothing special, too. I just want to...
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, nothing special.
Dude, you're not the only one going after my Grail run. Amazing Spider-Man number 26.
Damn.
This is the 4th appearance. I don't have the first yet. I have the 2nd, 3rd, and now 4th appearance of Green Goblin. I got this book from A1 Comics. Shout out to A1 Comics. What's really cool about this book, they just recently, guys, if you haven't checked out A1 Comics on IG or on YouTube, they just spent $600,000 on a massive collection. One collection. They're calling it the Winters Collection.
Really?
And this, I mean, AF-15 was in there, I do believe, and just it was crazy. So they got a whole bunch of Amazing Spider-Mans, and there was a bunch that had this oh man, if you guys can see this date stamp.
Date stamp right on.
Well, not a date stamp, but
an address.
Yeah, so this is Alan Luck. Alan.
Look at that.
Alan had an awesome collection and said, you know what? I'm putting my stamp of approval on all of my books. So Alan from Sacramento, California. Yeah.
He lives near you. You should go check out that address.
Yeah, I lived at 3625 17th Avenue. Alan, I'm going to hunt you down. I'm going to hunt you down, and I'm going to say, Alan, I got one of your books. Appreciate you if you're still alive. But I just think that's cool. I think stamps like this are pretty cool, man.
I agree. Absolutely.
It adds to the history of the actual book, which again makes it more special. So that, because again, these books have passed hand. A lot of these books have passed hands so many times. They are stories in themselves. So that's really, really cool. No doubt about that. All right, next up we have, who do we have? Oh, we got Comic Noob. Did we do Comic Noob already? I can't.
No,
we did not. Comic Noob, some early morning reading before the mini-me wakes up. I actually enjoyed this Gambit series. I have this Gambit series. I think I just showed this up. I got it for like $10, and I have not read that yet. But a lot of people were saying this is a good pickup because it's technically Gambit's first series. Even though it's a mini series, so nice get there, and it's a nice way to relax before the day starts to kick in, especially if you have a little one. What do we got? You know what? Since we have one more, okay, I'm gonna go real quick. Share my fresh get again. This is Spider-Man number 234, Miles. This is a new Sinister Six here with his uncle in the spider armor. So this was hot for a hot second, but can't beat it for $1, right?
All right.
Am I right? So I have not read this book though yet, but it's an interesting Sinister Six. I'll leave it at that. Yeah. All right, moving on. Who do we got? We got Raising Elm Comics. He's another former winner, always bringing the heat, even though he's won, bringing his A game. That's right.
Okay, look at that.
Exactly. I am and always will be the optimist, the hoper of far-flung hopes, and the dreamer of improbable dreams. The 11th Doctor picked up this gem from Journos Comics. Who's that? What not? Give him a follow on the app, y'all. My beautiful wife helped me compose this shot. In these times, we can all use some hope. Remember, be kind to each other. Well said, especially kind of the discussion we had last week with the whole Reva stuff in Star Wars. So it's something we all have to remember. Everybody's going through something, so be kind. Just be the best you can be. But, man, Raising Elm, always bringing the heat, and we always appreciate you for that. Next up, we got 0879 Lions, a.k.a. Serge Henderson. Hello, everybody in the comic book community. This is my first cat I got this past week. I'm not sure where the cat is. I just got through reading it. It's a great comic.
My God. Sorry, this is one of my favorite books of all time. Yeah, I'll tell you why. Go ahead.
Oh, I can't wait to read it. It has to do with all the male superheroes that fought for Earth to keep her turn home alive. Reminds me of my football team, which is also what's in me. You got to keep fighting for what you believe in. But this was a great fight between Ben and the champion. I also like to thank Two Brother Comics, Dustin, for putting me up for this book. Also want to thank Jeff and Chris also for the great community. We want to thank you all for the great community. You are the community. Otto, tell us the story.
No, so that Marvel 2-in-1 was a really important book for me as a kid because I couldn't afford books that had all the characters like Wolverine and Colossus and Namor and the Hulk. And the way this was written, Ron Wilson did the art in this, and it was just amazing. And he fights the champion. It's the first appearance of the champion, and who's one of the elders. And the Thing is just in this boxing match with him. And if you go to the end of this, I think it's like the third or fourth panel, Thing won't quit, and he's beaten and he's bruised, and the champion's standing over him, and he goes, "Why won't you just quit? Like surrender?" And this has been the story of my life. The Thing just looks up at him, and I probably said this a million times over. He looks up at the champion. He goes, "Because I'm just too stupid to quit," and he just passes out. And I mean, it's just a true. He just gives it his absolute all. This is a great book. I've got like 4 or 5 copies of this book. I just love it. That's a great book. I think I know where my vote is if I can vote on this one.
Listen.
So please, you can pick this up and find this, man. This is a great story.
Yeah, Serge talks about the fight in this book as well. And the honestly, man, it's these books that aren't quite keys. Those are the ones that stick out to you, right?
Sure.
This is one of those, and that's an incredible story. And I like how it had an imprint on you I don't know how young you were, but it definitely left its mark.
Of course. And I read it all the time too. I mean, it's just amazing. And the champion's standing there and he's holding the belt over his head. And it reminds me of Thunder Lips from Rocky 2 with Hulk Hogan, so just all of those were all around at the same time, I guess. So those are just the imprints that I had. So cool. Dude, that's a great book.
I'm reading this book tonight on Marvel Unlimited, and I'll
yes, please.
I no doubt about that. I will. And then our final fresh from the comic shop, Dan De La Torre, good friend of the show. Here's my fresh from the comic shop. Found this unloved Jughead comic in a $2 bin. Having a true love for comics, this book will be loved and cared for in my collection. Jughead 190 from 1971. And that right there, guys, that ends our audience submissions. Doesn't end our submissions. Otto, you go first. What's your final fresh get?
All right. So this is about as fresh as they get. Last week was my birthday. June 8th was my birthday. And, it was just one of those things. And I had sent out a book to Captured Collectibles back in December. And again, if the X-Men 129, well, the whole Byrne Claremont run is very important to me, but X-Men 129 to 136, if that's one of my favorite story arcs, my number 2 would be either Crisis on Infinite Earth or the George Perez, Marv Wolfman Teen Titans run, all the way through, oh my God, the Chronicles with Taskmaster and Terra and the Judas Contract, right? All the way up through that. And I used to buy those every month, and George's artwork was just amazing. I was very fortunate to meet George twice. I had him sign some things, but I found out that our friends at Captured Collectibles were doing a private signing with him in January. And I knew he was very, very ill, right? Very, very ill, where he wasn't on it. He didn't want to take any medication for his pain. He knew the cancer was taking over his body, but our friends at Captured Collectibles and Spineworks were going to his house for a private signing. 2 weeks before that, before the submission date ended, I was at a place, one of our friends, Brickhouse Comics, was doing a sale. And I don't believe I ever owned this book, and I can't believe it was DC Presents 26, where it's the first appearance of Raven, Cyborg, where it's an insert and just a great book. Jim Starlin did the cover, but it's again the first appearance of the newer Teen Titans. And I found it, and it was a high grade. It was a nice looking book. So I think it was like $120. I bought it. I got it home. This isn't something that I collect, but as I opened it, I found out it was a Mark Jewelers insert in there too. And I know people actively collect that. So I had that. I sent it to our friends at Captured, and they sent some pictures with George, and just a really, really interesting thing. And that signing was in January. We know that he passed away May 5th, Free Comic Book Day of this year. So fast forward, June 9th, some of my buddies up here in Connecticut were getting their Perez signing books back. And I'm like, all right, I wonder where mine is. And lo and behold, I drive home, and my mailman left a package on it, and there it was. So my DC Presents 26, I have it right here. It was delivered on June 9th, which is George Perez's birthday, no less. Okay, so his birthday was one day after mine. Everything happens for a reason, you guys. I truly believe this, right? And if I start talking about that woo shit and just why things happen, but I mean, for me to wonder where this book came from, where it was, and then for him to show up on his birthday means something to me. So I will show it to you. It was my Instagram post today for Show Off Sunday, and it came back at 9.6, nice. Signed by George Perez, with the George Perez label. The first appearance of Raven, Cyborg, and Starfire. Jim Starlin did the cover, but George did the inside work, and it's just really, really great book. And to have it signed at 9.6, but more importantly, we know that George Perez passed away 4 months later. He was riddled with cancer. He was, emaciated, but his signature was so amazing. It's so crisp. It's so clean. And again, to get this a day after my birthday, on his birthday, Gemini Brothers, I just really, this one really hits home. So never leaving the PC. It's staying with me for a long time, and that's about it. So that's this awesome book, and I did write a little thing on my Instagram post today. So again, every book has a story, every story has a book, and this was important to me to share that with you. So that's why I kind of held this till the end, So
no, we're glad you did. I mean, I gotta say this, Chris. This is pretty heavy. Chris and I are thinking about a Hall of Fame for Fresh in the Comic Shop, because there have been some amazing submissions. There is no doubt in my mind, Chris, that this guest right here, OTTO, has delivered a Hall of Fame performance.
Oh, hey.
Chris,
for once, right? For once, man.
I don't want to put you on.
Thank you.
I have no qualm against that statement.
You've kind of blown us away. So OTTO, we appreciate that.
Yes, thank you.
The one, that's so sentimental to you, and for obvious reasons. Chris, that's a hard act to follow. You're next, though.
Yeah, no, I mean, that is.
I'm glad I have to go after you, even though you're going to probably blow me away.
All right, no, this is something. This is a cool story around this. I like that. I don't know. Maybe it's. I mean, I already had this planned out, but OTTO's bringing out the unique stories in us here. But this book I picked up in a collection. It's it's not high grade at all, and huge Spider-Man fan, and it's a Spidey super story book.
Love
and it's number 11, really cool cover with OTTO.
Yeah, man, right on, dude, rock on.
But it's got it's featuring the Electric Company, and something really cool about this book that I don't think a lot of people know. And all you speculators out there, I don't know, don't go like FOMOing out, and I don't want to see like 50 sales of this book being sold for $200 on eBay just because I talked about it. But it is really cool, and I think there's intrinsic value there, historic value as well. This book came out in 1975. It predates Jessica Drew, Spider-Woman, and any other iteration of Spider-Woman. And on the front page here, if you guys can see that,
look at that.
It says, "Is this the end of Spider-Man or the beginning of Spider-Woman?" And you have this woman right here in a Spider-Man suit. So what is this? And this was like foreshadowing, because then you turn the page and you go into the story. God darn, this there you go. Yeah. And it's like, this is, here's Spider-Man. It's all started one warm day. So what you saw on the splash page was foretelling, and it didn't happen yet. But you're introduced to this woman right here, Vanessa, and she like gets her. She finds, you know how Spider-Man would web up his suit.
Hang it. Of course,
he'd web it up, come back for later. And well, he must have left it there too long. What is it, like an hour that it stays? It falls in her lap. She's like, "What the heck is this?" And she's like, "Now I can be a hero." She goes home and she puts on the suit and she creates like these little web or excuse me, wall crawly.
Oh, that's awesome. Right? I like how they have to explain it.
Yeah. It's all explained and everything. She's like, "Man, I'm gonna do my thing." She's got his web shooter. She's like, "Oh my gosh, this must be the thing that shoots the webbing." Boom, there it is. And so she's going out and crawling around, and she here hold on. Runs into Spider-Man and helps him fight the Vulture.
Oh, that's great.
So this book right here is the first appearance of Spider-Woman.
Yeah. Chris, on the first page, who did the artwork in it? Was it Ramita? It should say on the inside cover, on the inside part of the cover.
Yeah, the splash page doesn't have the detail. Oh, here, hey, look at this. It's on the back of the cover. Pencils Winslow Mortimer.
Oh, really? Okay. Oh, wow.
Interesting.
But John Romita was the art director.
Gotcha. There you go.
Interesting. Okay. All right. So you had classic touches from the classic Spider-Man artist. That's awesome, a pretty cool book, Chris. That's a very cool book. Absolutely. All right. I'm going to close this one out right now. In just kind of a whimper. It's whatever. It's Avengers #1, cameo of Azari T'Challa. Speaking of Ramita, this is his son.
Yeah.
I know him well. Definitely has come into his own as a comic book artist. And that right there.
Hold on, Jeff. Wait, first off, hold on a minute. You got that in a dollar bin?
Yeah.
Wow.
Honestly, they're out there, people. They really are. So it's we all love digging through the boxes.
We can't in yet though, and this is definitely something that I'm on my personal Instagram right now, pulling this up. So I got to see if we can see it. But Jeff, Jacob said that remember we were having issues because his account was private. But are you following him now, Jeff? Did you go into the Comic Book Canon Instagram and accept a follow from or request to follow him?
There was no. Oh wait, hold on.
We got to make sure we're following him. Because I see that he hashtag FFTCS.
Oh, I'm going to be following right now and follow.
Cool. All right, cool. So Jacob, we should be good now. But let's show. I want to give him a chance to show off his submission here. Here it is. It's Spawn. Obviously, all things Spawn, and you got this. Look at that Spawn statue.
Yeah.
In the middle of it, there you got a Spawn DVD is there as well. I wonder if that's the original movie they did. And let's read what he says. He says, "I met Todd McFarlane when he just formed Image. Oh, sweet. Wow. At San Diego Comic-Con in the 1990s when I was a teenager, and bought a copy of Spawn #1 personally from him, and he signed it for me. After we talked for a bit about how I was a fan of his since Spider-Man, he goes, here, kid, and asked to see the copy I just bought from him, and pulled out a fancy pen and signed it and gave it back to me. A great guy who loves his fans. Had to get the new issue this week, number 330. Just brought back those memories. Good times. That is freaking awesome. And yeah, Jeff, what was I saying earlier in the show about Todd and how I don't think we really understand his impact.
Wow.
Right now yet, in 10, 20 years from now, we're gonna. So Jacob, that is awesome.
And we are following you now. We will not miss your submissions as well. Speaking of submissions, we have to pick one for our semifinalists. Now, before we do, we need to remind you all this could be the last show of the canon. This could be the last show. We need to get to 3,203 followers for 3 Men in a Basement. And the show's not over, but let's just get an update, Otto.
No, you guys live to fight another day. Thank you very much. There you go. The number 3 popped up. There we go.
There we go.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Fantastic. And if you guys feel like it, give us a follow as well. But Otto, man, I don't envy you. You got a job to do, and there's going to be a lot of angry people at you. No, you can't win. You can't win. Chris and I,
definitely.
This is the only reason we bring guests on. We take the heat off of ourselves.
Right.
So now, to start it off, though, give us 3 that really stuck out if you can.
Definitely the Marvel 2-in-1.
Okay, sure. hold on, because I'd like to recap here and give people a refresher here.
Yep, that book right there. That's a very important book to me. So that would definitely get my vote. I would definitely go with the first Green Goblin, ASM 16.
He has already won.
Okay.
But we'll bring it up anyways because it's a beautiful looking book, Into Oblivion. There we go.
Love it right there. Because the reason I love this is, Ditko, one of my favorites of all time. You don't often, I used to hate, I shouldn't say this. This book never really appealed to me because I just didn't like the glider that the Green Goblin was on. But then my friend Bernie, 1869, former 3 Men in a Basement, he goes, Otto, how can you not like this? You've got the Enforcers, which is one of my favorite Ditko covers. And then you've got Ditko doing the Hulk, which he didn't do often. And then he tells me all that. And I'm like, you're kind of right about this. And now I really, so I just needed a little bit swing and I like the background. So I would do that one. I thought the Spawn one that you just showed was really cool, especially the backstory behind it. And I would go with the Iron Man War Machine because when you remember the book that you first bought and you lose it and then you get it again, that is not monetarily priceless. It's priceless emotionally. Because
Let me pull it up before you make any sort of decision. I cannot remember who
was that.
That's Brian P. Meister. Right here.
Yeah. Right there. And it's just a crazy cover, man. Oh my God. Right. So especially with the War Machine tagged over the Iron Man and, to hear his story about how that's back in his collection is just amazing. And I hate hearing stories of floods and fires with comic books. It just breaks my heart. So definitely pulled at my heartstrings on that one. So, yeah.
Oh, is that the winner?
Oh, you got can I? Oh,
you have those. Yep. So we got.
Oh yeah, it's the War Machine, man. The War Machine all day. Just
Brian P. Meister. Moving on to the semifinals.
Yep.
Good work, Otto. Good work indeed. A lot of pressure on you. However, we're glad you pulled it off. Man, this has been a pressure-filled show for you, Otto.
Yeah, unbelievable, man. It's unbelievable. I'm
for the interview right off the bat. You made it though. I hope you don't have any sort of like ulcers or anything like that.
I have a little PTSD, but that's okay, man.
You have. I'll tell you what. You're like one of those that like that kid's not going to make it into the big leagues. Then you come up for fresh from the comic shop. That's your big hero moment right there, right?
Thank you. Yeah,
you knocked it out the park. Well, Brian P. Meister, again, congratulations on that. And just to remind you all, Brian P. Meister and others will be in the running for this June slab, this Wonder Woman 68. Beautiful cover, beautiful slab. Again, it's as easy as getting on Instagram, hashtag FFTCS, fresh from the comic shop, submitting your fresh gets. The criteria we look for is presentation, take a cool shot, think outside the box, get creative, get artistic, have fun with it. Unique books. It doesn't have to be like a $100,000 book, but it could be a book that we never seen before. Mark Lineker does a good job of that. And stories. Actually, the good example of the story is our winner from this week, Brian P. Meister. So something that, that means something to you. Man, it's been an incredible show. Otto, I am so glad we got you on here finally. You and the 3 Men people like you, Roger, Dave, you guys do an amazing thing for this community because as we start to get away from this horrible pandemic, we start to kind of rub elbows with each other. You guys are making that possible. You guys are creating the events. You guys have been doing this since the pandemic. Going to these, these comic shop runs. Again, you guys galvanize. You guys are catalysts yourselves. not only putting out great content, but again, just bringing everybody together. And that's what we all need now. That's the next level, and we're very excited to see where this goes with your comic swaps, with your your shop hopping, all that stuff. So again, we were very, and you're also just a great person. So we really appreciate you.
Some people will say different, but I'll take that from you two guys. I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
I'm sure people hate me, so it's not a big deal. They love Chris. It's like the yin and the yang.
Oh yeah.
That's right.
Sorry, in the comments on my channel.
Yeah. Anyways, Chris, do you have any final words for this fine episode we've had?
Yeah, it's interesting. I just looked at the clock and it says West Coast 7:30, and I'm like, oh, that show was only an hour and a half. And then I'm thinking, no, we started at 5. It was 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, oh my god.
We usually go 90 minutes. Sometimes we hit the 2-hour mark. I can't believe I was thinking it was 90 minutes.
Yeah.
It flew by to where it just seemed like it was just so seamless that I can't believe we've been sitting here for 2.5 hours. So it was well worth it. We had a good crowd tonight. I think they could probably say the same. And Otto, thank you for hopping on. Yeah, man, you did great. I think Jeff, to your point about the questions, it was awesome. Not only, maybe I did a good job with the questions.
Oh, you did. It was a good one.
Otto did good. I mean, yeah. So every segment too. I mean, you really brought something solid for each segment that we did. And I always run back the top 10 on my channel, but I like this Fresh from the Comic Shop so much that I'm going to run this back on my channel as well, because it was just awesome. So
yeah,
big thanks to you, Otto, for sure.
And just a reminder, we are off next week. It is Father's Day.
Yep.
Hopefully we're going to be spoiled by our children.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah. So, and Otto, you deserve to be spoiled by your children as well. But we'll be back on the 26th. We'll send a reminder out this week. Fresh from the Comic Shop does continue. So Chris and I will be picking a winner or semifinalist offline. But yeah, so please submit this week. Other than that, again, we can't thank you, the audience. You guys are you are the community, and we truly appreciate hanging out with you guys on these Sunday nights and just talking comics, talking about the world in general. It's a nice getaway from the awful things that do happen in this world. So again, as we say, be good to yourself, be good to others.
One more thing.
I do have one more thing to say. If I can.
Look, everyone's got it. Jeff, we're ruining it. We're ruining it for you. I just want one thing, and I just want a quick. We're not going to dive into it, but just a quick one-word answer. First off, Otto, have you seen the first episode of Ms. Marvel?
Not yet. I'm watching it with the family. I'm going to watch it with the
Jeff,
family. You've
seen the first episode of Ms. Marvel. One word to describe it, or maybe 3 words. I don't know.
The first word that popped into my mind, and some people may see it as a bad word, but it's not. It's eclectic. It's fun.
The way I described it, and maybe we'll talk more on other episodes once the show starts unfolding. I think this was the best first episode of all the Disney Plus Marvel.
You're not the first person that said that.
Yep.
All right. Yeah. I'm digging it.
Otto, you wanted it? Yeah.
I did. It's funny, sitting on this side watching this, and I want people to, first and foremost, I want to acknowledge you two guys for putting on a great show, because to do something like this, I know firsthand, between the conversations that I have with Roger and the text message and emails, to set up and to format something like this is no easy task. So thank you guys for taking time away from your families to do this, to set it up, and to bring me on. And that's really, really important. I want to acknowledge you guys for showing up and doing this and having great formats and leading it, because it is very, very difficult and time consuming. So my hat's off to you guys for running one hell of a show, man. So
hey, we truly appreciate that from somebody who does it on the regular as well. So again, thank you. And you've got some fans here. I mean,
all right.
Dan De La Torre is a good guy to have in your corner. I'll tell you.
I'll take it. All right, thank you, Dan. I appreciate that.
We know that from personal experience. All right, all. Again, be good to yourself, be good to others. We will see you on June 26th. Please continue to submit your Fresh from the Comic Shop and stay in touch. We'll talk to y'all soon. Have a great one. Peace.